That is a trip, is it not? Look at that Willie Mays there. Look at that. Is that gorgeous? They're like artworks, these old cards. They don't make, what is it they say? They don't make them like that anymore. They really don't. Welcome, Uncle Neil Rogers. Welcome. He's like
Clem Labine.
Clem Labine. You could go through that. Bobbles, you could go through that for
Norm Zouchin.
Norm Zouchin.
These are great.
Really takes you back.
This was when baseball was baseball, kids.
That's right. They had how many teams back in those days?
16, 8 in each league.
8 in each league. American
National. Each team had legitimately, there were like 4 teams in each league that had legitimate stars at every position. Unlike today, like the A's. That was the problem with the A's. They had 2 stars and a bunch of turkeys.
Yes, well, I'm not talking about that. I had a.
You're the only guy I know who can collect baseball cards without knowing anything about baseball.
Well, don't say that. I mean, I've really kind of gone back and I've learned a lot. You have to learn. If you're an investor, you have to know what you're doing. So I really have learned a little bit based on my investments and stuff like that.
Billy Odell.
By the way, I was listening as I was getting here, and the bridge is all tied up. It took a while. Pardon my cynicism, but I just find it awfully coincidental that Geraldo Rivera gets punched in the nose in the first day of the November sweeps. I just find that a tremendous coincidence.
Now, this is what's known as true cynicism. I think the reason for it is they obviously set up the most volatile show they could for the first day of the sweeps, and it just sort of didn't work out.
Come on.
Or did work out.
You think better than that.
You think they planned to get his nose broken?
You would take a punch in the nose for another point or two in the book.
Jerry Williams, a 65-year-old man coming on with Wart and trying to start a fist fight with everybody he gets on with. Now, he had that one legitimate fight, that brawl, last year, whenever it was. And now everybody that comes on is looking to have a brawl on the air. That's the new thing now.
In other words, you don't think these two guys that were swinging when he jumped in the middle were really angry at each other? You think they were just kind of put up with it?
Well, I mean, short of jumping off a building, can you imagine any other way Geraldo Rivera, he's on the front page of the Miami News today. I'm sure he's on the front page of a lot of papers around the country. Is there any other way he could have gotten there on the first day of the sweeps?
I think that is coincidence.
The incredible part of it is that picture's on the front page, and there's a story buried later. I don't know whether it's in the News or the Herald, but way inside about this kid who killed his mother in Tampa or somewhere, or Clearwater, after he watched the Geraldo show on Satanism.
I read that,
yeah. But see, that story's like on page 10.
Yeah.
But the fist fight on the Geraldo show, that's on the front page.
Well, I never put a lot of stock. I don't believe in associating television shows or records or anything else to people's personal actions. I think
that sounds like TV intoxication to me.
Isn't that the man? You read my mind. When I was going to say, when I read that thing, I said, "This is a case for Ellis." I mean, it's a natural for TV intoxication.
Now listen, I just hope
it works better this time than it did with Zamora.
In the months to come, I can retrain you just a little bit. Okay,
I'm always open.
And between now, it's 2:26. Between now and 6, if we can avoid. Just mentioning Ellis Rubin, Rick Siderman, which he's like the Dr. Votz of WIOD. I mean, this guy, it's like, is he a part of the show?
Rick is a real close friend of mine.
You mention him like every 2 minutes.
I think he's great. I think he's...
At what?
He is the...
So is Herman Goering, but what does that mean?
Well, the man is a consummate Steve Kane guest. He has everything that it takes to be a winner on the Steve Kane show. He is...
And who's the other one he should avoid? Let's see, Ellis and Rick Siderman and Bob Kuntz. Now, if you can avoid mentioning them between now and 6...
You left one out, of course.
Not to mention someone we won't mention.
Right.
But you know who you left out, don't you? Dr. DeSisto.
No, he's not in the same category.
That isn't who I was thinking of.
Oh, in other words, you don't hate
benign.
him. You don't hate him.
He's benign. I don't even know him. Well, I don't even know the guy.
He knows you. I mean, you've made him a national figure without any question. He asks about you all the time.
Excellent. And when he comes in on Monday at 2, he can give me a little therapy. Okay? But if you can avoid the other 3 between now and 6, we will have felt that there's a great accomplishment been made already.
Do you think so?
One day, yeah.
Do you have any other constructive...
Oh, yeah. But we'll save those for next week.
In other words, you're going to give them to me little by little.
Exactly.
Hey, I'm here to learn, what the hell. Thomas, did you ever, if you were listening coming in, I was kind of just doing one of my fantasy things and saying, did you ever in your wildest dreams conceive the day would come when Tom Jicha, Neil Rogers, Steve Kane would be sitting...
Well, it's not really that far-fetched. You two guys work together at NWS.
Yeah, that's true.
And in this market, people go around and they come around, and everything seems to. So, yeah, I would have considered it highly unlikely, but... I also considered it highly unlikely that I'd be looking for a job at this moment.
Yeah, we got to talk. Of course, we've got 4 hours, but we have to talk about that, too. What's going on with you over at the...
Right now, nothing's going on. I mean, I've got a lot of lines out and a couple
You're not going to leave Miami, are you?
I would prefer not to. I mean, I really want to stay here. I love Miami.
And he's got a satellite dish in the backyard.
And I've got a satellite dish.
And you've got all those dogs, too.
That's right. That's
all
right.
your
My
greyhounds
dogs will be 11 months old on Monday.
Do you know I've gotten very friendly with your partner in racing?
Ted. Yeah.
Yes.
Who brought in Vanessa Del Rio.
Super guy.
Yeah.
Super guy. And who's going to hopefully bring in, for Neil and I now, because there's no way I would, not share this with Neil.
Jeff Stryker. I heard about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, yeah, my friend Ted has a great adult bookstore. Matter of fact, a few of them. And adult books and tapes, very cleanly run, no booths.
What is a great adult bookstore?
Big selection, low prices, like any other retail operation.
You can go into some stores and they have 12
with sales on the
They
way.
have 12 titles, but at Ted's you can get Big Bertha and you can get the.
Have you ever seen Big Bertha? By the way,
Del Rey Beat.
Have you ever seen Big Bertha?
I've only seen the tape.
cover.
I'm not into that kind of thing.
You're not.
Yeah.
Well, Big Bertha is a novelty item. You wouldn't really find it very sexual, but Big Bertha is a how can I say a black lady who weighs probably in the area of 600 or 700 pounds.
Yeah.
And who does very strange and actually.
Well, I mean the fact that she does anything is very strange.
That's I was going to say if she weighed 120, it wouldn't be strange at all. But about 600 or 700 pounds, it's sort of
kind of like a pornographic Oprah Winfrey.
It is kind of. Well, I think she makes Oprah look
do we
skinny.
get something to drink in here or what? I mean, I don't want to get
Sharon. I get Neil. I get ice cream and pizza and everything else.
No, we don't want to get food in here. They've already told me
Scotch, soda,
down in the cafeteria for the food at noon. But
you want something to? What would you like? You name it, we will. Anything wet. Okay.
Yeah.
Would you call Sharon and tell her if she can
diet soda.
tear herself away from whatever it is she's doing? That my guest would like a little something.
See, I can accept anything on this program because it's owned by the same paper as the same people as own the paper, so it's not a violation of my ethics to take a.
You haven't done a lot of shows on WIOD.
That's
in
not
a long
true.
time.
Well, I mean, not a lot. I mean, not relative to.
Well, there was 2 years when Mike Anthony was here when there was almost a contract out on me. I mean, if I was seen in the... I mean, there was a time here, there was a note in the board that if you talked to Tom Jicha, it was a firing offense. So, no, there was a long time when I didn't do anything.
Let me ask you a question, because this is kind of interesting. We have a lot of stuff in common, the three of us, in that we are acerbic and we have a tendency to step on people's toes and offend people. Well, I guess he's gone long enough that I could admit that everything you said about him was true. I suppose
I was hoping you would have done it then.
Well, Tom.
I mean, I was really disappointed, Steve, today. Yeah. I mean, when someone asked you about Bill as a talk host and you said he was a 7, and I nearly went off the highway that day, a 7 out of 10.
Who did I mention?
Bill McCracken, who's a very nice man and a good newsreader, but as a talk host...
No, but that was the accumulation of the 4 hours.
Did I really give him a 7?
Yeah, she said 7, and I can remember where I was on the highway at the moment you said.
Right. Well, perhaps I was given to overstatement there by, 5 or 6 points. Yeah. But the point I want to make is, let's deal with the reality. When you attack a man, albeit, justifiably, to give Neil that 57 set while we're chatting, albeit justifiably, you can't expect him to take it kindly because, again, and this is another thing the three of us have in common, when we attack, we do
personal.
it. Well, but you're that kind of writer, like I'm that kind of talk shows. We can't say things nicely. We are given to putting things in sarcastic and dramatic terms, which is why we're good at what we do.
The thing that upset me about him was the way he brutalized people who were here. I mean, the way he handled Jerry Sullivan, the way he handled Sandy Payton was just that's not the way you handle
I'm not
human
arguing
beings.
with the substance of what you said. Were you not the one who dubbed him the assassin?
No, that was Neil.
You dubbed him the assassin.
I think I used the line.
He stole my material.
I didn't steal it. That one was given
from time to time.
No,
Neil dubbed him, and you gave it to the world in your column. But you can't expect a man to welcome you with open arms when you do that.
Look at that. Clint Courtney, was he related to Alan?
I didn't know Alan too much, but I remember Clint wore glasses.
Well, there's one thing about welcoming you with open arms, and there's another thing in reacting like the way he did in threatening to fire people if they even talked to me.
Well, you were attacking his self-esteem. You were saying he didn't know what he was doing.
Well, I think that was my opinion as a TV critic. I mean, as a radio critic.
I do not take issue with content.
He was a bad guy, okay?
Yeah, and time has proven that I was right.
He told a lot of people a lot of tales, and who walked around in a very self-righteous way, and who screwed up a few people's lives along the way. He was a bad guy.
Screwed this radio station up with his jingles.
And won't deny it. They won't argue
about it. His tell-a-friend and all that other business.
You don't hear me deny it.
I mean, all of that was ridiculous. He gutted your show. What did you have, about 14 minutes an hour between 4 to 6?
Wasn't that the worst? I mean, it's so good. Now we got Bill Wise, fabulous, fantastic guy, never makes a mistake. Easy guy to work for, never criticizes
7 out of a 10, right, Steve?
No, 7. Give him a 9. Give him a 9.
All right.
No, but it's true. But it's true. I remember when you called me before I went on the air. You were doing an interview, a column before I came back, and you were saying, do you realize that there's going to be more of the jetcopter than there will be of your show?
Yeah.
What was the original plan? Was how many times an hour?
8 times an hour.
8 times an hour in afternoon drive. But
8 times in an hour, in addition to a 10-minute sports report and a 10-minute news report at the top of the hour and a 5-minute news report.
You give a new meaning to the phrase "no show"?
Yeah.
It was. That's what I was saying.
That was one of the kinder.
One of the rare times that I ever mentioned your show.
That you were saying at the time.
But you didn't have any show. It's a miracle you had anybody listening because you didn't have any show.
It is very true. And I had a real hard time with you when I came back because you finally, after all these, I told Tom, Tom called me in there and I said, listen, you really, when you're away for 3 months, your audience scatters. I mean, there's no question of that. I would be running into people 7 months after I was back on the air. I remember WNWS did one of these things for a theater promoting a movie, and Jeff Charles was over there, and I attended, and people kept running up. They had, most of the WNWS audience. They said, Steve, where have you been? I've been back on the air like 7 months. No one knows you're there. It's very hard to get your audience
the thing I never understood was they paid $500,000 for the helicopter, and they're paying you $600,000, but all I ever saw in the posters was the helicopter.
That did not make a lot of sense to me at the time either, but, Did
you ever listen to a station because it had a helicopter? I mean, it's a nice addition when you have a good mix. Like now, as I've said in my column, and I've said to each of you personally, I think you've got one of the powerhouse lineups of all time. I expect this station to go through the roof. The helicopter is a nice addition to that. But no one is going to listen to a station because you have a helicopter when you have no substance with it.
Well, you have to understand Mike Anthony's background. He was I think a traffic pilot originally, or something to that effect, and he had a special affinity for traffic. We all have our...
Well, he also had a special affinity for jingles and slogans. I mean, he wasted another 10 minutes an hour with Tell a Friend and frequent news, weather, and traffic. You had more frequent news, weather, and traffic warnings than you had frequent
I want you
news,
to get
weather,
all
and
this
traffic.
out of your system, guys, because it's good to, clear the air now that all these people are gone. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, 610 WIOD. We're back with you, Steve Kane, on News Talk Radio 610 WIOD. My guests, the radio and TV. As a matter of fact, I do that. I work standing up now. My guest, Uncle Neil Rogers.
Matter of fact, Mike Anthony's coming down the hallway. We're going to have a fist fight in just a second.
That's right, too. But where
did you read on the... I'm going to have to skip this spot because I didn't go right. I didn't take my usual mellifluous flow right into the spot, and we're into content. Now I can't interrupt the flow of the show. No. I read... of course, I've been doing this for a while. I kind of stumbled on this when we were in that little temporary studio. But I read an article on the front page of the Herald the other day that said... something about the title of it was something about being on your toes, and the gist of the article was that when you're on your feet, you're sharper, you're faster, you have more energy.
You don't get hemorrhoids.
It has nothing to do, in my case, with hemorrhoids. It has to do with excitement and energy, which is of course, the hallmark of my program.
Well, would you like us to stand up?
No. Actually, it's better if you don't stand. Then I'm the one that has all the energy.
I think it's a superiority thing, which is, Steve, I think you maybe have some kind of a feeling of deficiency, and so you have to stand there and...
No, we're not going to do amateur psychology today, are we?
No, go ahead. Tell me more. Tell me more. I want to
do it.
Okay.
Well, let's talk about radio. Let's talk about everything that's going on in the market, and I don't want you to give away. I know you have a big show planned for Monday where you're going to be your premier, going to play all the old cards.
Guy Gannon for 4 hours on Monday.
Right. Well, that'll be fun.
And we hope that they're all listening over there, and I'm sure they will be.
Oh, I think they're listening. I think that we probably have about a 90 share among people in the business today.
I think if you look through the annals of broadcast history, you'd be hard pressed to find a company that has blown out 2 high-rated shows. I say they blew it out. I mean, I walked away from it. I told them goodbye. But it was by mutual agreement. It's not like they said, oh, please don't do this. Hey, great, we'll pack your sandwiches. Good luck to you, basically.
I think allowing you to go is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in all
everybody
the years
said to me,
radio.
they're never going to let you do that. You have time left on your contract. I said, you don't understand these people. They'll be tickled to death. They don't like talent, okay? They gravitate toward mediocrity. They don't like anybody who does well. And I think they're going to do extremely well, especially on both stations now, the AM and the FM. They'll be down there in the ones. And, if nothing else, there's something to be said for consistency. When you can have ones all day, man, on 2 stations with 100,000 watts on FM and 50,000 non-D on AM, I mean, they got big signals over there, and you can be doing ones. That's consistent.
There's a hell of a buy there for somebody. Because
it's called consistently incompetent.
You know that can't go on forever before the station gets sold. You wouldn't think so anyway. And at the ratings, at the price they'll have to sell with those ratings, there's going to be a terrific bargain for somebody.
You see, these people were okay in Portland, Maine. And they were okay in Oklahoma City, although they failed there and had to sell a station. They were okay in Cocoa Beach, although they sold that one. And maybe they're doing okay in Orlando. I don't know anything about that station. But the bottom line is, these are Portland, Maine people. They can't compete in Miami. They don't know anything about the market. The only reason once upon a time they did well in Miami is because they had some bright people working there. Dick Casper came in and put All News on when All News was flying, when it worked, okay, with a lot of good people. And they sold it for years, okay. They did well. All News started dying. They didn't know what to do. And the same with the FM. They had Keith Isley over there. They were doing well with I-95. They didn't want to be number 2. They could have been number 2 and made money forever. But they wanted to beat Y100. So they dumped it. They went to this 95 INZ thing, which was the worst abortion in the history of the market. And we kept asking Gary Lawrence, what is the format? What is it? And he couldn't articulate it. And that used to be the big joke. What is the format? What is 95 INZ? And nobody could answer the question.
Like, what's the frequency, Kenneth?
And then they brought back Zeta, and they changed the call letters to WZTA. Now, if you had the call letters WINZ FM and your logo was I-95 in this market, would you drop it? It would be like dropping A1A, for example. You'd have to be out of your... Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. No, but seriously, it had to be insanity.
I think
WZTA are probably some of the worst call letters going anywhere.
I think that in my experience in radio, which has all been in talk, I don't know anything about FM, but I find that management is by nature very conservative. Now, none of this obviously will apply to the president of management at Cox, because they have put together this lineup which shows that they are the exceptions that prove the rule. But I think to do something really exciting in the talk field, you have to deal with people who take risks and do outrageous things. And management, as I have experienced it in the, let's say I've been on the air between here and Orlando maybe 10 years, they don't want waves. They don't want to take chances. If there's something that may be questionable that they may get a call on, they, take the safe road. And that's why there are so many mediocres. I mean, let's face it, most of the talk stations, 95% of them across the country are what we would certainly term mediocre. Mm-hmm. And a few that stand out are those that have management that are willing to put up with the flack.
Well, that was the issue, I think, over at INZ and Zeta, that they just allowed themselves to become intimidated. And they took the course of least resistance.
But they're not unusual in that. I mean, I think that's all I'm trying to point out. I think if you take 98% of the stations in the country, the talk
but to let a guy who dominates the market the way Neil does, to let him go, just let him go without even insisting on a no compete, you have to be. They'll never program a station.
They ought to fire their lawyers. I mean, the idea of having the no compete for FM and not for AM seems a little bizarre for me. I mean, they should have had the foresight not to do that.
Well, I mean,
but my compliment to your attorney,
I didn't have a non-compete to begin with. They stuck that in. I demanded a letter of release. They gave me the letter of release, and they stuck that in because, they're such trustworthy people that they didn't believe me when I said I was coming to an AM station. I'm leaving an FM and to go to another FM and maybe do a morning show and to go up against them. I could understand why they'd be upset about that. I said, I'm not doing that. I'm going to an AM station. They didn't believe me. So they stuck the line in, about that business about the FM and not working another FM in the market for a year. I don't care because I'm not working in an FM. And I'm not going to be in the foreseeable future.
Tom, Neil and I are involved in it. You're on the outside. As you look in, how do you read the South Florida market at this point?
Oh, I think this station will be no worse than second for the next 5, 6, 7 rating books, however long this thing lasts. It just makes sense.
However long this thing lasts.
Well, you speculated on it coming in.
Till Friday.
Yeah, right.
Next week.
I mean, we do have a history of volatile personalities here. No, what'll happen is you're going to go from Ranieri's 5.5 in the morning to Neil has a history of being around 8 or 9. That's got to jack you up to at least a 6 or a 7. And then your sports talk at night is doing 6s and 7s. You're looking at a station that should do a minimum of 6. Well, 6 in this market is never worse than second. You have Life, which people have on, and whether they're listening to it is another story, but they have it on. And you have to be at least, I wouldn't want to be programming against you, which I suppose gives, somewhat the origin of this, the rumors that you were circulating, which are bitterly denied by NWS. Vociferously denied by NWS.
Isn't it funny how all these rumors, remember how you and I used to hallucinate on the air?
Well, I was telling Steve that.
Steve's good friend Lee would call the next day or would go on the air and say, they're hallucinating, it's absolutely untrue. Yeah. And then 3 days later, the exact lineup that we had announced on the air would, take place on NWS.
Well, that happened. I was on Neil's show on a Thursday night, and I said on Monday, this is what they're going to do over there. The next morning, Fowler went in, put a note in the bulletin board, said Tom Jicha is a lunatic. and went on the air and said Tom Jicha, when he goes on Neil Rogers' show, tends to hallucinate, and then came out of the program, called a staff meeting, and told him exactly what I said was going to happen.
The strange thing is, you say that like it's something astounding or two-faced. The realities are that there are times when now Lee, who was a good friend of mine, and is a very good friend of mine, when he was operating his management, see, Lee's a management-oriented person. You can be his best friend in the world. If you're working under him, he's loyal to the station he works for.
He also has that Soviet view of what the truth is. The truth is what's expedient.
Well, in management, there are things you can say and things you can't say. For example, I'll give you a good thing related to Neil. We got a call at the end of last week. This is before anything had broken at all. In fact, Nick took the call by the way, that's Nick, the gentleman who has such tremendous admiration for you and who will be your board op. We got this call, and it was, you get a lot of rumors, but you don't give them credence. Only this lady had been the one to call Nick and tell him, before there was any word of it, that Stan was leaving INZ and that they were going out of the talk business. So we tended to take that seriously because of she had a good history as a spy. And I went into Bill's office, and I sat down, and I told him the rumor, and I said, the only reason I'm even bothering you with this is because it comes from a source that's a good source. And, I'll be frank. I was very excited about the possibility for all the reasons we've discussed. And Bill sat. It's interesting, you can only cover to a certain point, and I'm good at reading eyes, and I see his face gave a little kind of revealing start. And then it was like, gee, I'd never, and this was like as the final contract was probably being drawn, and he was telling me. Now, I don't view it as the fact that he lied to me or anything. That's what you do. That's what's appropriate.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite DeSisto word.
That's
what's appropriate in that situation.
I like Lee, too. Lee and I used to have this routine because when a story comes up, naturally, as I did with you today on a story, I called you for comment. I like to be fair. I try and give everyone their chance. And I'd call Lee up, and he'd pick up the phone. His secretary would tell him who it was on the line, and he'd say, okay, what do you want me to deny? I deny it. And he'd laugh. And even the night that he said I hallucinated, and it turned out that I had it exactly the truth. You go, come on, Tom, you know how the game is played. You're a big boy.
And
we both laughed about it. We get along fine.
Whether it's WNWS or whether it's WIOD, stations release these things when it's appropriate to release them, and if you ask them prior to that, they're going to get up and say, I deny it.
Except for WINZ and WZTA. My being here last Tuesday was a fluke this past Tuesday. That whole thing was blown by Tim Williams. This was all supposed to be kept under wraps. And last Friday they said to me, well, we got to tell the sales department because after all, there are contracts that are pending. And I said, fine, but let's try to continue doing it in a reasonable way, and I'll come in until, you're ready. And came on Monday, did the show, and then Tuesday I get a call at home, or was it Monday? No, it was Monday afternoon. And I get a call from Juan Carlos at the Herald, and he says, what are all these stories? I said, what stories? He said, well, I just talked to Tim Williams, and he said, due to philosophical differences, you're going to be leaving on or before the 14th of December. And I just about slid off the couch. I almost fell on the floor. And I'm not going to lie to him.
You guys are very naive. If more than two people know something...
No, but wait a minute. If you're the general manager and you're trying to protect your own interest, what do you say when the Herald calls? You say, hey, the rumor's all over town. Well, we've got something to tell you. I'll give you a call. Have a nice day.
They could have kept him there for through December 14th.
Oh, no, please don't say that.
No, but
it would have never happened.
Just let me create this,
But there was no desire to do that. But, in other words, another week and a half, another week, whatever, they get their new people in or their new person in, their new DJ, their new classic rock, gravedigger, whatever he's going to be. And they put him on the air, and I come over here, and everything's done in an orderly transition. I think for one of the rare times in a business, both parties, both Pete Bolger and I, we both made an attempt to do it, in a gentlemanly-like way, which rarely happens in this business. But the management over there isn't inclined to do anything that
let me jump in because we got to take... Okay. Hold that thought.
What's more important, Steve?
Well, you know what's important. I know. Of course. We have to...
You're right.
Pay your exorbitant salary. We're going to take a short break. We will be back. Let me tell you about... let me pay my exorbitant salary and tell them about alarms by HRD. People you can...
With Bob Kuchenberg and Larry Zonka. For details on winning, listen to Mike Ranieri Mornings or call Bob Kuchenberg and Associates at 381-7890. Now, back to Steve Kane on News Talk Radio 610, WIOD.
We are back with you. Steve Kane on News Talk Radio 610, WIOD with Uncle Neil. and Uncle Tom Jicha. The Depot Restaurant. How about that? I bet you boycotted all my restaurants. I bet you haven't eaten any
I've always
of them.
wanted to go there. I never could afford it. I don't make what you guys make.
Well, it is.
It's very expensive.
Take us to the Depot next week.
Yeah, you want to take me to the Depot? I'll be there. I've always wanted to go.
Will you come to the? I mean, are you serious?
I would go in a minute.
I mean, that will be a story if they, if Neil
You're
would
asking somebody in this business if they'll take you up on a free meal? What's wrong with you?
All right, sold. Next week we go to the Depot. What do you like? What do you like, seafood or do you like beef?
A little prime rib, maybe.
The
Don't they have great prime rib?
You should mention the prime rib. See, it shows you. I knew you were a closet listener to my show. The prime rib is the specialty of the house. A humongous slab of prime rib, so tender it melts in your mouth. And they don't have a plate big enough
to put it on the table?
No, it kind of hangs over the end of the plate. You know how, like in those cartoons, when they used to bring out the steak hanging over the plate, and they float it.
Like Oprah Winfrey.
They float it in about a
Sounds more like Jeff Stryker to me.
Now behave yourself.
Okay. Do I have to wait till Monday?
They float it in about no, you don't really. They float it in about a half-inch of natural gravy. It's roasted in a rock salt cast to preserve all those natural juices and will melt in your mouth.
A rock salt cast that was once
what night we going
by A.J. Dewey.
Yeah, none of these vague promises, Steve. I want to know what night we're going.
Pick a night. Wednesday night.
Great.
Wednesday night.
Great.
Okay. Tom, Neil, and Steve will call up the Depot, make reservations about 7 o'clock.
Steve's check.
We will be there. 5830. Hey, on me, guys. 5830 South Dixie Highway. It's about 2 blocks south of the Bakery Center, and when you're there, they're open until 2 in the morning, 7 nights a week. Tell Todd that Steve sent you. Now, you had a thought that you were working on when we left.
No, I thought that if they would have kept Neil there, this is what a possible scenario. Let me finish. They could have kept you there, taken your number, which would have been tremendous as it always is, through the December book, and sold it all spring, even though you weren't still there.
Wait a minute. Let me say this to you. They're still going to have the benefit of like 2/3 of the book, but they can sell it nationally, because national advertisers aren't all that hip about, who's on the air and all of this. But locally, they're not going to be able to sell those numbers because the local sponsors, 99% of them know that I was on the air before. Those numbers are going to be mostly mine. I'm not there now. So how can you sell it on that?
Well,
they
can't do it. Spots they could have sold.
The reality is, in my humble opinion, having known Neil for 6 months, for 6 years, there was no way he was ever going to be on the air too long. Because Neil, based on the experience that we had at WNWS, once he is, disenchanted and is getting ready to part the ways, gets angry and angrier progressively on the air.
Wait a minute. That all depends on how you're treated. Now, when people are handing you hostile notes before you go on the air, like Luke Crone was doing, and you open him up 5 minutes before airtime, and he's got every threat that's ever been invented,
Luke Crone threw me out of his studio one time.
But that wasn't happening.
Lou was a real good friend of mine. I don't understand why all the people I get along with you hate.
I can't believe that we got to this so early in the show. I was going to try to milk this for later.
Yeah.
But Steve, when he writes the story of his life, I will write the preface, and I will, in the preface, go in detail, name by name, all of the different people who hate my guts who have become Steve's best friends.
Seriously. Go ahead.
Ellis Rubin, Bob Kunst, Rick Siderman, see how fast I forget the name.
Luke Crone,
and some others who we won't mention here at this particular moment. But, like, all of the people, is that a criteria? Is that one of the criteria for being your friend is to hate Neil?
No, and the strange thing is that I keep telling them that I like you, and they, some of them don't believe me.
Really?
I do like you.
I never believed
you
when you said it.
You really don't think that I like you?
No, I do believe that.
I have said I wouldn't lie to you.
I wouldn't,
but I have always felt that you.
As a matter of fact, someone asked me this morning coming over here, do those two guys really hate each other? I says,
No.
Neil does.
That's what I always say.
I don't hate Steve at this point. There have been times when I've hated him, no question about it. I'm not going to lie about that. For example, when he goes on the air and tells people that I hate my mother, that's a little bit hard.
I never did that. You want to read? That's a great story. You don't want to relive that.
I think you should get a lawyer and
the honeymoon.
I know just the guy who specializes in this kind of thing.
If he never did that, I will sign over my next 3 years' pay to him right now. Okay?
You missed the whole.
If he never did it.
Now wait a minute. You missed the whole point of that story.
You did say it, though, didn't you?
No, I didn't. But I would be if we're in this good head and all this kind of stuff, and people.
Why is that? Wait, people want to wait.
What did he say? Good head? What the hell was that all about?
You guys have dirty minds.
Well, we're not the only ones. Unfortunately, this is it. We're out of here, Steve.
We're in this honeymoon period, but I have a feeling if I tell that story, I think you'd get angry at me again. I'll tell it when we get back.
First of all, you didn't tell it correctly. You told it by way of another good friend of yours, Tom Don't Like Us. Okay?
Tom, the original thing was between you and...
distorted that story.
I think we owe it to the audience to...
No, I'm not.
I
don't want to go back.
You don't want to go back?
If you want, I
probably,
will. But
probably just as well. It's not terminal. It's a great story.
No, it's a great story if it's told honestly.
All right, we will. We'll talk about this during the news.
Venom.
We will be back. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show on 610 WIOD. All right, we are back with you. Steve Kane on News Talk Radio 610 WIOD. My guests, Uncle Neil Rogers, Uncle Tom Jicha, and yours truly. What do we want to... we were going to relive that story. Then we won't relive. The honeymoon has to last beyond the show today.
The first thing has got to be Tom has got to apologize. But you don't owe the apology, but Glenn is listening now, I'm sure.
Yeah, Glenn, I'm going to apologize to Glenn for two things. One, I did mention the fact that he was moving over with you. In both articles I wrote, it got cut out in the composing room floor for space purposes, and I just as a good reporter, I would have reported it because it's a significant fact. The other thing is, Glenn, when I was on the show, I said that Casablanca was going to be on TNT, and you said TBS, and you quoted the National Enquirer, and damn it, you're right. I am wrong. It is going to be on TBS.
Serious?
Absolutely.
Well,
what'd
you bet? About
night.
20 grand on that, didn't you?
I told him I owe him a meal at the Melting Pot.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. And take him
to the depot with us.
Well, I can't afford the depot.
But Steve's buying.
Oh, yeah, okay, Glenn. The dinner I owe you is on Steve Wednesday night.
See how easily that all works out?
No problem.
Probably have a mob there. Well, you better call early for reservations.
No, right, now, what was this I was listening as I was headed out to the executive John there.
Yes,
What was this about when we were at WNWS and Al was good?
Oh, no, yeah, right.
And Shirley was brilliant.
Wait.
And are you hallucinating again or what? I'm going to call Lee Fowler on you if you don't stop hallucinating.
I will.
When was this? When Shirley was great?
I will repeat what I said.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to put words in your mouth.
I said when I first got here, I perceived that lineup we had at WNWS as being a great lineup. You must admit that the Al Rantel that's on the air today and the Al Rantel of those days when he was kind of imitating you are different Rantel. Well, that's true. Al is
kind of imitating.
Al is. As opposed to now, he's absolutely
don't you understand?
He has no identity, and he identified. He was doing real well because he got an identity from you, and he was gutsy.
He was like Neil Jr., okay, for a long time. Then I changed my act a year and a half ago. Then he started trying to do that. Al isn't funny.
Well, wait, I don't want to.
I
don't want to turn this into a bash Al, but the fact is,
I'm just saying he tried to do what I'm doing now. He couldn't do it because he's not funny. Then he went back, and he was kind of like in between. In other words, having, like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. He was in between, and he just was kind of lost, and he's never gotten out of that.
Al has, as I would sum it up in agreeing with you, he has an identity problem. But anyway, he was identifying with you in those days, and it was good. It was a good act. I thought he was terrific when I got down here. I have no problem
Al in his
with
early days was a good talk host.
He was.
Or a better talk host than he is now.
I remember that Lee Fowler said to me, oh, this is so great. Lee really likes to tick me off. He called me in the office one day at WNWS, and he looked at me. This was before obviously the move and the contracts and all that kind of stuff. And he looked at me and he said, "Don't you wish you had Al Rantel's future?" And I said, "What are you talking about? What do I took it
He used to
personally.
use that line on the air all the time.
I mean, it
has
really...
the best future of any young talk show host in America and all that crap. But Lee's got a great eye for talent. There's no question about that.
Well, that was one of the
days
things
at WGBS, I think, proved that beyond a shadow of a doubt.
That was one of the things that I wrote about him, that he had almost an unblemished record of hiring people who failed.
Yeah.
I mean, it was incredible. I don't recall him making a really good hire at the whole time at either station.
I just want to say this about Lee, because I know he's a good friend of yours. I don't dislike him, but
he doesn't think you do.
No.
You two guys
in fact, when he calls on a show, we had some of the funniest. And
Absolutely.
I used to tell him all the time, if you could be this funny on the air, you'd be in New York.
Yeah, that's true. And I had to talk to him too. I like I say, he's a charming guy.
But the only thing that bothers me is that Lee is kind of like the director of what I call the Radio Yenta Network. Okay. And there are these guys, there are about a half a dozen of them, man, and they're on the phone consistently, morning. I don't know how he's got time to do his show, because he's on the phone constantly with everybody who's in the business, who's out of the business, who's on the beach. It's just amazing. He's the greatest source of misinformation that's ever been. And I'm watching TV. Listen to this. I'm watching TV the other night, 10:30 at night. My phone rings. I reach over. I pick it up. And I could have just fallen off the chair. I have a lot of problems, accidents at home, falling off the couch. It's Bob Lassiter.
Oh, my God.
And my first impulse was to say, where the hell did you get this phone number, you idiot? And I'd been ripping him on the air my last 2 days, because I had been in Tampa last weekend, and I heard him, and it was just so bad, I couldn't believe it. I mean, the guy is really terminal. He's horrendous.
He was always horrendous.
And it was Bob Lassiter, and he had just called another member of the Yenta Network. I'm not going to mention who it was, because he'll be upset. And he gives her my home phone number. And it's just like this constant. It's like, I don't understand it. See, I've been in the business almost 30 years, and I'm not interested in gossip. I mean, if somebody comes to me and says, hey, here's the new lineup on GBS, yeah, we used to put it on the air. Of course, that's good radio.
I love gossip.
But, yeah, I know you do.
It's fun. I mean,
but I don't think you're a member. You're like on the outside
of this. Therapists say that...
anybody we know.
And they'll be here next Tuesday.
Anybody we know.
Therapists say that gossip is very healthy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but because
you ought to be so damn healthy, man.
Well, you ought to be telling that for years. But anyway, you asked me a question, and we've kind of wandered from it. So I perceived that Al was excellent. Shirley, Shirley.
Now you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Negative.
Shirley was never good.
Now wait a minute. Let me define.
Shirley was always super militant, feminist. Super psycho, with all that astrological,
let me define
crap.
Let me define my terms, okay? To me, one of the marks of a good talk show is if you really tick people off. And in her militant
if you do it well.
Yeah, but her problem was she was bad with the phones, okay? She had these old, hello, Shirley, hi, Shirley. I mean, these old.
She used to get a lot of angry men on the phone, though, in those days. But she'd go at it with, I enjoyed
very old
the show.
Callers, bad calls.
Then, of course, there was, I was in the afternoon,
Barbara
which was
Studley.
Beyond belief and great.
Barbara Studley. Now, you're going to tell me she was a broadcaster?
No, but she was a bizarre human being. She was from outer space, and I used to listen to her. She said, I just love Israel.
The Jewish people, I love my love.
And you would come on afterwards, and you would rip her. There was a whole continuity and chemistry.
I mean, how can you send your son to Dade Christian School? How can he be a born-again Christian and a Jew at the same time? And it was incredible.
Well, she was running for office when
she got so carried away, she used to believe
it. She was bizarre, and she only had two shows that she did. One was on the Jews, and the other was on the, what was her other thing? The Jews were one, and what was the other show she did?
Generals. She had the military.
No, right, the military, right.
Yeah,
Nicaragua, right. Yeah. Oh, they're taking over Nicaragua. But anyway, it was great. Then you'd get on and you'd rip her, and she'd take shots at you, and we'd all take shots. There was a chemistry and excitement that went on, and yet the station never really went much above between a 4 and a 4.5, which is good.
Yeah. The station peaked when Jerry Williams was there.
I was just going to say that.
I came back from Nashville. We had a 6.4 in the fall book of 80, or the spring book of 82.
But Williams was only there for a short time.
He was only there about a year.
Well, the guy got held up in the damn station.
I heard that. No, that was on the last day that he was there. Did I ever tell you that story?
Yeah, I heard that.
Last day that he's there, and I'm on the air at night, and he came in to kind of clean up the office and get some stuff out. And I'm sitting on the air, and all of a sudden he opens the door of the studio, and he looks in, he's like ashen, pale, and he's pointing to his throat, and they had ripped the gold chain off his throat, And I cut the mic, and this woman's going, bah, 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 bah. She's babbling on. I'm not paying any attention. And he says to me, 3 black guys, they're out here, guns.
Nothing personal, Nick.
No, it's got nothing to do with the fact that they were black. What is this, going to be a Willie Horton thing again?
Joke.
But anyway, the bottom line is this is what he said. And there were these 3 guys in the building with a gun, and they had ripped him off. Everything he had, his jewelry, his money. And they said, let's shoot him. Then he said, seriously.
I know.
And he said, this is a radio station.
It would have been Fowler would have said, let's take a poll on that.
And you remember how nondescript the building was. They didn't know what it was.
Really.
They were waiting for him when he went out the door. They were just waiting for somebody to open the door and come in, and they figured that it was a place of business, and they'd rip it off.
Yeah, you couldn't tell what it was.
Except his money and jewelry. And so anyway, he went diving. He went diving on the floor into the news booth, way in the back, remember?
Right.
With the lights out, and closed the door, and they finally panicked, and they ran out. And I opened the mic, and I said, the woman is still, bah, 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 and I said, please, somebody in the audience call, 911, because we're having a problem here. They flooded the 911 lines, and they were there within 2 minutes, but the guys were gone. But he was like this close to getting blown away on his last day in this town.
And then taking a heart attack besides.
Yeah.
Speaking about rumors.
What is that? Wasn't a rumor.
No, wait a minute.
Boy,
No, we were talking about rumors before. This just was, a little thought disorder there. Speaking about rumors, did you know that I had heard that Barbara Studley and Jerry Williams were good friends?
Oh, very good, yeah.
He hired her. You know how? Yeah, because Barbara Studley got hired.
Are you slow today, Tom? He's trying to say real good friends.
Really?
Barbara was real good friends with a lot of guys, okay?
Well, I don't know about that, but I do know that Jerry and she evidently had a special thing in common, which...
I'm not saying anything beyond that, you understand. I'm just saying she was friendly.
No, Barbara Studley and I were hired at NWS the same day when I briefly did that show on Sunday nights from 6 to 8. We both came in to be interviewed. We were sitting there having coffee together.
Wow.
Jerry never became good friends with me.
Well, maybe that's just as well. I guess. I mean, I assume. Anyway, getting back to what I was saying. But when you left WNWS, and then from that point on, it got very scattered. You left WNWS. We moved over.
Barbara did love the Jews. You said that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, she just loved.
Sure, she did.
Yeah.
Just like Jerry Falwell does.
Then we moved over to the new WNWS. By then, Al had started to lose it. And at that point, Neil was kind of by himself. I was kind of by myself, really, because
the market really splintered, yeah.
Yeah, and we've never really gotten back to that chemistry that we had when you've got high-powered personalities all playing off each other, and you have that kind of high, intense electric atmosphere in a building. And
there have been too many hybrid stations in the market. There have been too many mongrels who never really could quite understand what they wanted to be. I guess INZ was as close to being another full-time talk station when I was on and Stan was on and they had TalkNet at night. I guess that's about as close to another talk station as we had.
Yeah, that was only two
local hosts, yeah.
Well, you have some high intensity around here at about 6 o'clock, don't you?
Well, but absolutely. But this, that's sports. I'm talking about in terms of a talk, chemistry. It just got splintered. But now, Steve and Neil and Mike together again.
Right. And if Sonny and Rick and Hank and Joe are listening at the moment, by the way, we don't want to be the ones to break it to them on the air, but...
Yes, what?
No,
just a joke.
No, it's just a little joke, as Lee would say.
By the way,
right.
my feelings are hurt.
Why?
Mike Ranieri, who I always regarded, if not as a
you today,
friend,
did you say?
Yeah. I can't believe it. I've never said a bad word about the man. As a matter of fact, I've been on Neil's show a number of times and defended him when Neil was ripping him. This morning he calls me a functional illiterate. Where is that coming from? I mean, I can
probably comes from when you defended him.
People came up to me. I must have had 16 people come up to me and tell me that. And I said, doesn't bother me. That's part of the business.
It's
very
strange
you do things like
you
this.
should say that, because I had a whole bunch of friends come up to me yesterday, and Mike was doing one of his intellectual routines about holes in donuts or something like that, and he said, speaking about holes, tune in at 2 o'clock to hear the man with the holes in his head, Steve Kane, which I'm I'm sure he meant it in the complimentary sense, but I have yet to be able to find the complimentary sense.
Don't you understand, Mike's corn pone,
is that what that is? In other words, he was trying to be nice when he said I have holes in my head. But anyway, Mike is, I don't know about Mike, but I think he's angry. I don't know what's with Mike.
Well, I like I say, I don't know what the problem was. I've never had a problem with him, and I'm really surprised he did it, but hey, I
think he's a little upset because he did ask me in the hallway on Tuesday. He said, will you come in at 9 o'clock like Sandy and talk about sugar cookies? And I said, Mike, I'm not going to do it, okay?
Oh.
That hour, do you remember that hour?
I was wondering about that. Are we going to have that little Passover, the little crossover?
Next April there'll be Passover.
No,
okay, we'll invite you for the Seder, okay, Tom?
I mean, you're not going to be here
No,
from
but I think he was angry. Let's face it, you've taken real vicious personal shots at most of the people in this building.
No, not personal shots. See, that's where you and I differ.
No, we don't differ, because I take it like you mean it. I take it like you mean it.
No, but you say personal shots. I've never said so-and-so is a child molester, so-and-so beats his wife, so-and-so hates his mother.
Let me reword.
Those are personal shots. If I say somebody sucks on the air, that's a lot different,
Let me reword it.
Isn't it?
Let me reword what I was going to say.
Professional shots.
I take it back.
Okay, please.
You have taken many shots which have been perceived by those at which they were aimed as personal shots, even though
any
they were
shot
not.
is taken by the person at the other end.
Not by me.
No, not if we're talking about their talent.
The victim, the person who's being talked about, always takes it personally.
I don't.
I mean, you take it personally when someone talks about you.
No, not at all.
You do, Neil.
No, I don't. You're wrong. If somebody says he stinks and he's the worst thing, fine, more power to him. But if they start talking about, like that thing that Woofy Radio did down at FIU.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that bothered me a lot, but it was so tacky. We don't want to hear fat homosexuals eating on the air. I mean, it was so tacky and so pathetic and so childish.
That you had to play it every day for 2 weeks.
Exactly. I loved it.
We see, I relate
I still
to
have
that.
it.
I'm the same way with that. I used to listen to Neil's show mainly to hear what he would say about me, and I loved it. I used to fell, and I know Neil takes it. But you see, we are entertainers. When you get in, let's face it, the sports department, these are serious journalistic type people, and they don't... Will you behave yourself?
Anybody we know?
They don't take it in the same... They don't have that same
I want to say
spirit.
this seriously.
Yes.
Anybody, and I mean this for everybody in this building, I should have said it Tuesday right at the beginning.
Right.
Anybody in this
when Mike
building...
asked you about the nose-picking thing. You should...
Exactly. After he pulled it out of his...
Which is definitely a professional judgment and nothing personal.
Exactly. In fact, it took two guys to help him pull that arm out. But anyway, anybody in a building who's going to take personally anything that I say has got a problem, because I don't have a mean bone in my body. I really don't. People that know me well would agree with that. I'm not a vicious or vindictive person. The stuff that I do on the air is entertainment. It's my shtick. It's like Rickles. Don Rickles may be probably the nicest guy I'd ever want to know, but a lot of people think he's vicious, he's nasty, he's hostile. That's his thing. And there was somebody in the building who got upset the other day. I just made some passing comment, and I had somebody in tears in the building. No, seriously, I had somebody in this building in tears, and I apologized for that, and I didn't mean it that way, and I was shocked that anybody would take it seriously.
Absolutely, but
because I met a lot of new people. No, I won't stop.
Here I am at the
right.
Here I am.
Because you can't be thin-skinned and be in this business. You can't do it. You don't have to convince Even if you're doing sports, you can't be thin-skinned.
I'm looking for a job, and he's calling me functionally illiterate, but I don't mind. I hope Monday he calls me something else, and Tuesday something else again.
What is it that they just spell my name right? We're going to take a short break.
That's difficult.
We will be back.
I can't even pronounce it.
Hey, come on, Tom. You're a fight fan. Aren't you going to come to playoffs tonight?
Not to see those fights.
Oh, come on. It's 3 championship fights. When I was eating there, they got these beautiful, they don't have walls, they have windows, and I'm sitting there eating my dinner with Lori, and the head fella comes over and he looks and he says, "You see, right there," he said that, and he pointed to the apartment. He said, "That's where Al lives," and I was just looking right into Al's window, right into the apartment.
With the binoculars and everything.
No, I didn't bring binoculars. Next time, Will. Anyway, where were we?
How about if we do a remote from there? Wouldn't that be exciting?
From Le Dome?
Yeah. And Al can kind of like wave back.
I think a remote would be exciting anywhere. We did a remote, but it might be fun.
That's true. They can come watch us eat.
And fight and argue and... They say, the first question everyone asks me is, how long is this peace thing going to last?
Yeah, now, wait a minute. Are you done with this break?
Absolutely.
Because I just want to, I listened quite a while yesterday, and I heard a lot of these mental douchebags out there who can't control themselves. You people, and some caller made reference to it, too, about my slogan about get a life. They are so vacuous, some of these people, and they've got to conjure up in their minds this great fight that's going to take place and all these battles. I didn't come over here to be like, to be a debater with you or your guest or anybody else. I came over here to do my show from 10 to 2, and there are going to be those days you'll come in a little early, I'll stay over a little, later, whatever, but that wasn't the purpose. This isn't like a 3-ring circus.
Exactly.
And those of you out there who are like, it's like the people who are do you have any idea how many people are going to turn on that Geraldo show when it airs? I don't know which day it's coming up.
That's why I'd say it happened the first day.
Because I was watching CNN today, and they showed like a lengthy portion of that segment.
Supplied by Geraldo, I'm sure.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, once those tidbits and the pictures in the papers get out, they're going to have like an 80 share when it gets on the air.
What are you saying?
I'm saying that
analogous to this?
Analogous to wrestling and all of this other stuff. That's what the country is into now. In fact, I think that if during the first debate, I think if Dukakis would have walked over to Bush, as short as he is, and stood on an egg crate and punched him in the mouth, and Bush would have started slinging back, and they would have been brawling on stage. I think you'd have got everybody in the country would have been on a phone. Everybody would have been watching.
Yeah,
you'd have a 90% voter
registration.
That's what they
the
want.
Next day would have been phenomenal. Yeah, that's
because everybody talks about what a dirty campaign it is. That's what has gotten Bush like a 12-point lead now.
But God forbid we should get off on politics to bring this back to where it started.
It's got nothing to do with politics. It's the American mentality.
But you were saying that applied
of Geraldo Rivera, of Mort Downey Jr.
Yeah. But you were saying that it applied to the fantasies they have about our potential conflict or whatever it is, or battles between us. But you see, the reason I don't agree with that is because I'm sort of fascinated with it myself. It's like people say, well, when is, I have an interesting relationship with Neil. I mean, I think we have an interesting relationship in that we've had good times and bad times, and you never know what's going to happen, and that's what makes it fun. It's exciting.
Well,
you don't plan that.
But I don't do the same kind of show anymore, okay? I don't do that kind of a show. And I heard you say to somebody the other day, well, I'm going to try to talk Neil and do a little more, some more topical shows.
Well, not on your show.
It isn't going to happen. I'm not going to do it, and I'm not going to come here and debate some slimeball, right-wing, homophobic douchebag. I'm not going to do that.
You won't even talk to Meyer Kahana here in studio?
No. What am I going to talk to him about? Okay. What am I going to talk to him about? Ask him what day Shavuos is?
You don't miss the old days of getting involved in issues at all?
No, wait a minute. You say getting involved in issues now. Isn't it interesting that the big issue that's coming up, the election, is like a couple of days? No, wait a minute.
No
You're giving me a bad... All right.
A non-issue.
But that's the big issue in the country, allegedly, and you won't even talk about it. And I don't blame you because, in the old days, I would have gotten on the air and I'd have been doing my bleeding heart thing, and won't you vote for Dukakis and what's wrong with it? I can't change these people.
Absolutely.
I mean, Bush is ahead of Florida by like 23 points. We're not going to change it.
As you say, by my definition, the election is not an issue, and that's why I won't talk about it. To me,
but any of these issues, do you think that we're going to sit here and going to do 80 million shows, or me? I'm not speaking for you or anybody else, but I'm going to go on here and do all the old shows I did on abortion and about capital punishment and all those 7 or 8, can't miss kind of talk show topics. Gun control, which are going crazy in Maryland again. Drugs, should we legalize marijuana? I can do that, and man, it's all
gambling.
been said.
Let's not forget casino gambling.
I told the audience that you're doing a new kind of thing now, and I know.
And I'm never going to go back to that.
I just think on occasion you might, give them a little taste.
Well, I do.
Look, I got to tell you something. I've said it behind your back, and I'll say it to your face. You were fabulous at that stuff because the thing that makes you fabulous with it is you had the comedy, you use, the sarcasm. The content is meaningless. It's the same with my show. When I get into all these issues, it's not the issue. The issue is just a framework on which you have
classic example is Mort Downey.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any difference. I don't, but I mean, it doesn't make any difference who's on the show. It's the act that gets people watching, and it's the audience and the reaction.
Well, you can do issues without doing issues. When he did Hallandale Vice, that was an issue because that really is a mindset in this community, and it's not limited to Hallandale. My wife works in a restaurant, and she'll tell you that early bird mentality. The people who come in are cheap.
I agree with Tom.
People. They have money. They don't spend it because they're tight and they're cheap.
I agree with Tom that every issue is not a political issue. That's an issue, and that's the stuff you used to do great when you'd go after people and be nasty and mean and all those things, like I did.
When did I stop doing
that? Well, you do it in a little different format now. But anyway, that's okay. Let's take a short break for news update. We'll be back. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show on 610 WIOD. You're going to love it here.
Well, that was exciting, yeah. One big happy family, it sounds like.
It's only just begun. This is going to be so fabulous.
Great. Now, who's going to get me another soda, by the way? I even got my
another soda? You're worse than my daughter.
Yeah, but I want a diet this time. I'm diabetic, and they're feeding me sugar already, okay?
Maybe they're trying to tell you.
Sharon, 2 Diet Cokes, please.
Will you buzz Sharon? She's probably working, setting up, shows. If you can get Sharon.
We don't want to be pushy, but we're used to having all kinds of food coming in.
I had pizza with pineapple,
water, and
these guys are down to a simple Diet Coke here, and I will take
ice cream.
some.
What was that? Ben & Jerry's ice cream?
Yeah, I will take some coffee all the way. Oh, I got to do a commercial here. I got to tell them about the bazaar. You ever been to the?
We've been telling them about the bazaar all day.
I've been to more bazaars than you can imagine.
I will bet you have. The bazaar is so much more than a flea market. It has everything and anything that you might want to buy at lower than flea market prices.
Including
everything
toilets.
From, I'll just run down the list here. Yeah. Christian books. Are you in the market for Christian books?
I always go to flea markets looking for that.
Lingerie.
Oh, yeah.
3rd floor lingerie.
I need to upgrade my collection, yeah.
Jewelry, greeting cards, gift wrapping, insurance, carpets, tiles, Crazy Eddie's baseball card store where you can get your latest Steve Kane Investors Special, fashions, both men's and ladies, erotic. My eyes are really going. Exotic birds. No, exotic birds, luggage, electric games, you name it, they have
Glenn is an erotic bird.
The bazaar. What?
Yeah, Glenn is an erotic bird.
An erotic bird.
An exotic bird.
Is that a fact? The bazaar, we suggest you drop in there this weekend with your family, located at Oakland Park Boulevard and 31st Avenue. When you're up there, you tell them that Steve sent you. These are works of art you're looking at. Works
and
of art.
You want these baseball cards? I want to tell you, this is interesting, most of the audience, because they can't see these. Lee's younger brother, Art Fowler, is on here from the Cincinnati Reds. Remember that?
And not only that, Art Fowler, the one who just sued because they used his name in that Budweiser commercial as throwing the pitch that Mazeroski hit over the wall. I'm not positive about that. I think
it is.
And he
lost.
He's
the one that sued?
Art Dittmar.
Right.
It was Ralph Terry.
Yeah.
It was Ralph
Terry threw the pitch, But they said in the commercial.
Can I tell you something? You know why that happened? I still have it on tape.
You were a Pirate fan at the time.
Will you just let me finish, Tom? Boy, he's so hyper today, isn't he? Chuck Thompson, who for years was the Orioles announcer, was great. Was doing a radio broadcast, a play-by-play, and he's going along, and Ralph Terry was pitching for the Yankees, and Mazeroski comes up, and just on that pitch, he says, Art Dittmar throws, and I don't know where he got Art Dittmar. I don't know if he had been in the game before or if he was in the bullpen, but he blew it. He said Art Dittmar throws, and then he hit the home run on that pitch. And that evidently is where that came from, but it was not Art Dittmar, it was Ralph Terry.
So then it was a legitimate tape of the broadcast. I thought it was a recreation.
No, that was the original radio broadcast. Well,
See?
it shows you how. Do I have a steel trap in my mind for all this trivial crap?
Days. I mean, and that went all the way to the Supreme Court, and then you wonder why the legal system's clogged.
I'll tell you what. Let us go to the phone.
Yeah, let's take all your great callers here and get. Now, listen, Nick, only people under 100, okay?
We
not
have
Steve's usual crowd.
Fabulous callers on the show.
Do we?
You would know because you don't listen, but I got to.
I did listen yesterday for an hour, and boy, they sure weren't out yesterday.
We screen carefully. We only let through the creme de la creme. You don't screen at all?
So make sure you tell Nick just to put my people on hold, and we'll take care of it.
Let's go to Broward. You're on WIOD. Hello.
Hello. First, I want to tell you, you have the best producer in the world, Nick Lawrence.
He is fabulous.
Fabulous, fabulous. Now, number 2, before we get in, I'm going to attack you. But before we get into
wait a minute. Who are you attacking? Me?
The 3 of you.
All of us?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I am not a gray-haired old biddy.
Good.
I'm younger than any one of you sitting on that damn panel. I am a Florida native. And I just resented you and your 2 asses there calling Mike Ranieri, who has...
What do we call him?
Wait a minute.
All right, now wait a minute. This is one of Mike's listeners. Let's not get hysterical.
Okay, I am madam, I apologize. Go right ahead, sir.
13 years stayed on that station.
Right.
And any of you can say you had stayed 13 years, and another one to attack the sports department. If it wasn't for Mike Ranieri and the sports department, there would be no WIOD, and the only thing I've been sitting here all afternoon...
can I say something now? You've had your say.
This is Tom
Jicha. But let her finish. Let her finish. This is a very sensitive lady. I'm not going to cut you off. Yeah. But, madam, can I ask you a question? When you are finished, will you permit us to respond?
I will. I will grant you that.
Go right ahead.
The only thing I will tell you is that it wasn't for the sports department and Mike Ranieri, where the hell would WIOD be here? Why, you 3 have been hopping from job to job.
Yeah. I've been at the same job 17 years, ma'am.
All right, now, wait. Now, ma'am, we appreciate this. Now, Tom would like to be the first to respond.
First of all, I've been at my job for 17 years, and I would like to be there longer, but circumstances aren't going to allow that. Second, as far as attacking Ranieri, the only way his name came up in this program was he called me a functional illiterate this morning.
And you know, wait a minute, Tom, if you've been that in 17 years, you know his sense of humor.
Oh, it was his sense of humor.
Well, why is that his sense of humor? But when we say something, it's an attack.
No.
And wait a minute.
It sounds to me like you're a little bit uptight and surly, man.
I'll disregard you, Tom.
All right, now, madam, I want to go next.
You called me seconds ago.
Madam, you were going to... Now, we let you talk, all right? Now, I'm going to go next, and then we're going to turn you over to Uncle Neil, all right?
I'm not going to talk to this guy.
Again, the only reference I made to Mr.
I don't talk to people like this.
Oh, okay, then
I'd have hung up on her
I'm it, ma'am, okay?
I don't talk to Uncle Neil either.
All right,
good. Up yours too, honey.
All right, now, wait a minute, guys. Here, hang on now, ma'am. I didn't attack Mike Ranieri. All I said was that the other morning, my friends told me, he said that tune in at 2 o'clock for the man with holes in his head, Steve Kane. How is that me attacking Mike Ranieri?
Oh, you started a little more than that.
Then tell me what...
Wait a minute.
What? No, wait, no, I'm not going to wait.
Wait a minute.
I'm not going to wait.
You're getting upset.
No, I want to give you a
lady,
compliment.
wait a minute. When are you going to grow up, lady? Now, does this tie in with what I said before?
She wants to give me a compliment. I think we ought to let her do that. Okay,
please.
Go ahead.
Okay. I have enjoyed you. I have to admit that. Up till now. But since Uncle Neil is coming over, you have got so nauseous that I could puke.
I've got nauseous?
Yeah, it's my fault.
No, I've gotten nauseous since I punched in this call. I've been nauseous.
That I never liked Uncle Neil, and then listening to you.
Now, madam, I have to ask you. Oh, madam, give it a rest.
Go to hell. I can't even stand listening.
Go to hell? What kind of a thing is that to say for an old fart like you, huh? Oh, my God.
I think she's angry with
I think she's exercised, okay?
I wanted to ask her one question. I don't know where she's getting all this stuff. When did we attack the sports department?
All she needs, will you just relax? You're getting
Mike Ranieri attacked us, and now we're on the defensive.
About a miserable old prune. All she needs is a boiling hot coffee enema. It'll clean her brain out. She'll be fine. Just leave her alone.
Okay.
Moving right along.
All right, moving right along.
Boy, that was a great first call.
Yeah,
you wanted to get to the phone,
right?
Crowd, right? Welcome to WIOD, Uncle Neil. Hello, you're on WIOD. Are you there?
Sure, Steve.
Was that a great call?
That was fabulous.
Fabulous. Marvelous.
I didn't think it was going to start till Monday.
Really?
I just wanted to say you've got another one of these weird people that is welding their radio station dial to 610.
Exactly.
And it's absolutely fabulous that Neil's over with you guys. I felt the same thing. I'm sure Neil did. I felt he was really being stifled over there. You could just tell it on the air. And it's just super great that he's over with you guys now.
Oh, it is great.
Sir, you're a wonderful American, and we thank you so much.
Are you guys really going to the Depot Wednesday night?
Yeah, come watch us eat.
Yeah,
Steve said we spend a lot of money.
Absolutely, my treat.
What time?
I'm not. I mean, if you come,
Sir,
you pay your own tax.
Remember
sir,
the scene in The Godfather when they ate at Joe's in Brooklyn? Do you remember that, sir?
Right.
We might not be disposed to telling you exactly the time, okay?
Just hang out.
It will be sometime Wednesday evening.
And don't forget, sir, don't forget one thing.
Right.
On your way out, drop the gun.
Okay. Oh, let's go to Broward.
Exactly.
Broward County. You're on
anybody.
You're on WIOD. Hello.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
What a trifecta we have with you three.
Oh, my God, this voice I hear, I think I need some chronic tonic. You're not chronic, are you, sir?
Welcome back to AM, Uncle Neely.
Yes, sir.
We were awfully sad to hear about your surgery, though.
What was that?
Oh, surgery that you had. We understood that you had a colostomy.
What is this man talking about?
I don't know.
Do you have
I
any
think
idea?
he's hallucinating.
Well, it has to be, Uncle Neely. You see, you quit taking calls from any formidable callers, so we decided that you must have...
Yeah, chronic. Get out the chronic tonic. Get rid of him. Get out of here, you jackass. Boy, they're all coming back.
You have a way, isn't it? It's all beginning to...
Exactly. You're going to have some fun now instead of these old
never been away.
Okay?
Let's go
Hello, Steve. How could you be so mean to Uncle Mike?
Miami, you're on WIOD. Hello. Are you there in Miami?
You calling me?
Oh,
yes.
God.
Speaking to me?
Yes.
Boy.
Okay, I just want to wish Neil luck, and I also want to wish him a happy birthday.
Thank you so much.
Is it your
man.
birthday
Like I said,
today?
tomorrow.
You're kidding me.
Tomorrow's my anniversary.
Well, happy anniversary.
I thought it was the 4th of November.
Fifth. But you were close enough.
That's incredible.
Okay.
Tomorrow is the day of the baseball card show at the Hollywood Mall.
Well,
it
you see,
all
it all
fits
ties
together.
in, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think it was.
Yeah, is that it, ma'am? Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Let's
You're
go
very
into
nice.
No coincidence.
move them
That is
along. Let's
correct.
go to Deerfield Beach. You're on WIOD.
What happened to
Hello.
our
Hi,
sodas,
Steve.
by the way?
How
Hi.
are you today?
Good. How are
Sounds
you?
great. I'm taping the show.
All right.
Neil should recognize...
Well, at least there's more than one then.
Neil should recognize my voice. I'm a chronic caller to his show.
No, you're not chronic.
Well, you reamed me out so bad the last day
So
you
to
were
speak.
taking calls.
Yeah, you're working on it, but you're not chronic yet. Just keep it up.
Well, I'm glad to hear your voice back on the airwaves, Neil.
Thank you so much.
Because you are such a thought-provoking person.
And a breath of fresh air.
Right.
Right, and I'm glad to hear you back. And I called Steve yesterday. I told him I was a second-day listener, and I would be listening every day now.
Oh, I did hear you call. I appreciate that. It was very nice of you.
Oh, thanks.
Well, you
Is
see,
that like
2
a
days in a row,
Seventh-day
you are getting
Adventist?
chronic now, but that's all right.
Second day listener? Is that a religion?
Well,
right.
yeah, today
She's
I'm
a second day listener?
She's
today
a
I'm a
second-day
third-
Adventist, right?
Today I'm a third-day listener.
Are you,
Listen, have a wonderful life,
are you
and thank
enjoying
you
the
so
program
much.
today?
Yes, I am.
All right.
Well, we are
Immensely.
too.
We are glad you called. We are going to take
A
a
lot of
short
ladies
break.
here today, huh?
They must be all yours because I don't have ladies.
I know that, and I worked very hard on that to get more and more women, because talk radio in this town, we've talked about this, especially younger women, man, they're locked into the soaps and all that crap.
I think
Geraldo.
they're intimidated a little bit, too.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Do you think that's what it is?
I think that
You
is
think they're
part of it.
intimidated by me?
I think so, yeah. Well, not just the idea of calling up a forceful personality.
We'll work on that,
Yeah.
trust me.
All
We'll
right, okay.
Whether it be
I
you
put
or
the
Neil.
women in your hands. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back. You're listening to where they'll be good and safe. We'll be back. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show on 610 WIOD. We are back with you, Steve Kane, on News Talk Radio 610 WIOD. We are chatting with Uncle Neil Rogers, Uncle Tom Jicha, Culver and Dunn, the conservative investment and the pending Bush administration. Now, effective yield, remaining principal value, and maturity may vary, so if you want 10%, now is the time to act by calling Culver and Dunn at 444-6601 or toll-free 1-800-444-6601. Culver and Dunn, investments you can bank on. Look for their ad in Business Monday. They are members of NASD and SIPC. This is totally unrelated to anything, but I've been trying to get 2 tickets for the Heat game on Saturday night. I was taking a lot of heat on the air yesterday because I don't promote the Heat, because I'm not a major basketball fan. And I figured, what the hell? I call anybody. I called everybody around town, people whose husbands and wives are high officials, and I can't get 2 tickets for
Don't
that.
you understand? The
It is
first,
sold
it's like the
out.
opening of the Metro Rail. It's the first of anything is always the biggie, and then after that, except when the Celtics and the Knicks and a couple of other teams are going to be here. It's going to be Death Valley Days. Don't you understand?
I was all set to promote this.
And have
thing,
you seen those Army Navy surplus uniforms that they're wearing?
I haven't seen
those
that.
Black schmutzy uniforms with the little tiny numbers. It looks like they were hand painted by Billy Cunningham or something. I mean, it really is going to be big time.
I think they'd have some kind of pastel colors or something being.
Yeah, something like artsy craftsy for Miami.
Black
like,
is not
like
really
the colors of the lottery tickets.
Or the Miami Vice colors or something like that.
Yeah. No, black. Like
sort of strange.
Death.
Now here was all set to promote the Heat, say that I went to the game. I can't even get a seat. I mean, it's unreal.
Good luck to you.
Okay, where are we going? Let's go.
Get a section in February.
Oh, I want to take. I'm going to overrule you if that is okay. Can I take line 1? Would that be all right? Okay.
You're asking him if you can take line 1?
No, what do I do? Let me tell you how it works. If I look at the board and he has little notes up here, and if I see one that I like better than what he's chosen, I will ask him. But see, he's spoken to these people. And I have learned over the years to trust his judgment, you see. So we'll go. He says...
Because Nick will get used to the fact that we won't do that.
He says he makes his life easier.
Good.
Miami, you're on WIOD.
Hey, how you doing, Steve?
I'm doing well, sir.
Happy birthday, Neil.
Thank you.
I called you last week about the Camilla's house. I listened to both of you guys. I've listened to Steve a little bit longer than you, Neil. The one point, I tried to get him to talk to you 2 days in a row, Steve, and your line's a bit tied up, I guess, because of all the excitement about Neil coming over.
Absolutely. We didn't have a call till Neil came over.
Exactly.
But
except for the one opening we have in date, if you move quickly.
Yeah. Okay. Steve?
Yes,
okay.
I'm here, sir.
One point Neil brought up that I was going to bring up before he came on the show today. I've listened to Neil every day since April of 1987.
Now, Neil, you see what I mean about trusting my producer's judgment? My producer did not choose
this is
call.
a good call. Just a little bit nervous,
Takes a little time to get to the point.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Neil always attacked you as far as your talent, but...
I never attacked his wife, and I never attacked his mother, and I never attacked his brother-in-law.
No, other than the time that you said other than the time...
He was an ugly, subhuman piece of mung.
Other than the time you said that I shouldn't give advice since my daughter was institutionalized. Other than that.
No, I didn't say that at all. I said, I did quote your daughter as having said something. You want to rehash all of that?
No.
That's all ancient history.
It doesn't bother me. It was just a joke. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Anyway, a few times I listened to you, Steve, when I heard you personally attack Neil. And I mean, Neil's great on the air.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's for sure, sir.
Well, you never heard me attack his talent.
No, you've always said Neil's good. But I think Neil off the air is probably one of the nicest guys in the world. You probably are too. Okay? Both of you. But, Neil,
what is your point, sir? Get to the point. This is a terminal call.
Let's get to this negative now, quickly.
Okay. I heard you speak, like I said, Steve, I've heard you say things about him that made me want to turn you off the way you attacked him personally.
Well, all's fair in love war and radio wars.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to enjoy listening to both of you guys. I'm sorry.
Oh, my God.
And Nick was right.
I mean, Nick...
No, he's a good guy. No, he's just hyper. Don't you? You got to have a little compassion for these callers, okay? They're nervous.
You can be a good guy without being a good caller, though, and he was in that category.
I didn't say he was a good caller. He was deadly.
Let's go to Broward. You're on WIOD. Hello.
Let him intimidate you.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm insulted you took that call before me.
Well, it was a big mistake, sir. Anyway.
That's right. And that's right.
I'll learn to listen to Nick. Go ahead.
As a long-time listener of both of Mike and Neil and Steve, there's only one word to describe this WIOD. Mm-hmm. Unbelievable.
Yes.
No question about it.
Lee Fowler would say, unbelievable.
It really is unbelievable.
It's a radio place.
But you've got to learn something from Steve. I told your producer I was on a mobile phone, and I've been waiting for 20 minutes.
All right.
Neil would never do that.
Don't they put mobiles on there? I put mobiles on immediately.
Absolutely.
Okay? Even if they just pretend they're mobile, I put them on right away.
All right, that's why, I guess
or if they're calling from Mobile, I put them on.
That's why Nick put you up next, although it certainly wasn't for content based on what I've seen so far.
It was Steve's fault, sir. He screwed up.
Go ahead. What?
Two serious questions. I apologize.
Oh, hey, by the way, how long have you been waiting?
About 20 minutes.
All right, listen, we're going to save you some money because it's 4 o'clock and we have to hang up. We will be back after the news. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, 610 W. Really know how to hurt him. WIOD. Back with you. Did we get that? We are back with you. Steve Kane on News Talk. I never know when they turn on this mic. You did hear it. Okay. Let's go to line 8 in Palm Beach. You're on WIOD with Tom Jicha, Neil Rogers, and yours truly. Hello.
Well, good afternoon, gentlemen. And I use the term loosely.
Yes, sir.
This is your old pal, Mr. Schuyler, Uncle Neil.
Hey, Jim, how are you?
Not too bad.
Formerly, or wait a minute, are you still over there?
No, I'm not still over there
like
anymore.
I said, formerly of Hot 105.
That's correct.
Ooh.
And
a celebrity caller.
A celebrity, one of the 2 or 3 talented people who used to work over there.
Oh, thank you very much. A former celebrity. I've had enough. I'm taking a year or maybe a couple of decades away from the business now.
Congratulations, Jim.
Finally wised up. We'll see what the future may bring.
I'm telling you one thing, man. Those Sabrat hot dog stands, that's not a big investment. It's not bad. On a rainy day, you take the day off. Can't beat it.
That's true. I thought about that. My wife suggested maybe selling roses at traffic lights, that sort of thing.
Open the first White Castle down here.
Roses and newspapers, okay?
All right.
Together.
Listen, I wanted to ask Mr. Jicha, when the news goes south,
yeah,
does the Cox organization in its infinite wisdom and beneficence have another place for you, like maybe one of their broadcast properties or the
in a word, no.
Constitution or... Say what?
In a word, no.
In a word, no?
Yeah.
Why those dirty...
You said that, not
slime ball.
No, they haven't ruled out the possibility, and they are talking to me about a few things, but
we can't call them slime balls. They own this radio station.
Absolutely.
Like I said, they're pretty nice people.
Yeah, well,
and a good judge of talent.
Until they make the final decision that they have nothing for me, they're very nice people.
Right.
Well, I wish you the best. I think you're an excellent writer, and
thank you.
Frequently picked up the news to read your column, but now that I'm not making that long trek from Palm Beach to Coral Gables every morning, I don't see the Miami news.
Well, call them up there in Palm Beach. That's one of the places I've applied.
Okay,
tell them you'd like to see me up there.
See you in the Post?
Yeah.
Oh,
can you imagine all the stuff that he could write about Lee every day?
All right,
Incredible.
Thank you
Thanks,
for calling.
Jim.
Let's go to line 3, Miami. You're on WIOD. Yes, I did.
Hey, boy.
Move them along. That's what Pine used to say. Hello.
Hey,
yes.
How are you, boy chicks?
We're fine, sir. We're fine.
Very good. I got a question.
Leave the humor to us, pal.
What's that?
I said leave the humor to us.
Okay, gladly. Time to change the billboard. Ranieri's been up there too long. Are they going to put you and Kane all over South Florida? Or is there room?
You want to handle this one there?
No, I don't. I haven't seen
the
billboard.
There's your old...
I've seen the ones that say Neil Rogers Zeta 4, whatever that's.
Which is now obsolete.
Right.
Yeah, are they still up?
I haven't seen any of those.
I don't know.
I think the one by the airport is.
And I think we've changed I think our billboards now have nobody on them, although I've seen some remnants of
helicopters there.
Mics around town.
Right, the one on the turnpike that I see, the center part of the W's falling down, so I thought it might be time to update it with to reflect the new status of...
Sounds good to me, sir.
Okay. Also, I wanted to ask Neil real quick. A while back on his previous domain, there was a song that drew a lot of attention called Penis Envy.
Yeah.
And I know that Steve enjoys those. A while back he did the thing with the Camel cigarette ads.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you might get a copy of that song and play it on IOD so the rest of us could hear it.
Well, I got news for you. There's a lot of stuff that we played in the past that's making a comeback on Monday, and some of the stuff you're talking about, and I can't remember the name of the group that did that. They also did Boys Want Sex in the Morning with some group out of Oregon.
There were girls, weren't there?
Yeah.
The ladies group, yeah.
And I think Steve or Rich Pactor's got some of that stuff, and I got to get with the people who've got the original masters on it. And when we find them, we'll play them.
There was 95 song going to make a comeback?
We'll find out.
There was
I'll
one
run that
song
by the powers
that you played, and I only heard it twice before they pulled it off. And this is a while back. It was one of the first ones they pulled off. And the only thing I remember about it, I hope you can remember it. It was fabulous musically. It was a big production number. It was
Jet Boy, Jet Girl.
Yes.
Oh, Monday.
Fabulous.
Monday.
Song. I gotta get a recording
What
of
about Freeway and Spigot?
No, not this week.
I know.
The only reason that can't come back is because that was pirated by somebody in the building.
Oh, I see.
Not by me,
but with that particular one, you hear it once, it's funny, and then after that. But I got it, that Jet Boy Jet Girl. What a great production number! Mm-hmm. Fabulous. I'm going to get a copy of that to play in the car when I'm going to and from work. Let's go to you'll convert me at West Boca. You're on WIOD.
Hi. Tom, have you had any conversations with the Great Miami Herald?
I've had a conversation with them.
Any possibilities?
It's not terrifically promising because they have a TV editor, but you never know.
You're not referring to Sonsky, are you?
I am referring to Sonsky, yeah.
Oh, those rambling think pieces he does. Oh. It'd be nice if they had a reporter over there.
Well, that's kind of what I would hope that they would think, too. I think there's room for both of us. I happen to like Steve.
Yeah, well, okay, you're
He's a nice man.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, great. Neil, happy birthday.
Thank you.
And that was Uncle Bonsai, by the way.
Ah, thank you. Great. I got to write that down. Give me a pen, somebody. And you're absolutely right. I'll get a hold of those.
Okay.
In fact, I bet you somebody out there's got them.
I'm sure.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks for your call.
Bye-bye.
Going to line 6. You're on WIOD from Broward.
Yeah, this is the mobile. You hung up on them before the news, and I had 2 legitimate questions I wanted to ask you.
All right, go ahead. We'll make an exception to our one-call rule. Go ahead.
Thank you. I don't know if this is in terribly bad taste, but what's happening with Alan Burke?
Alan is going to be filling in part-time, and he has some possibilities, I understand, in California. And would like to go out to California if they materialize. I don't worry about Alan. He will land on his feet. He's a pro.
Good. And secondly, I don't know whether it's been talked about, but while I've been listening, I haven't heard Neil say exactly what his format's going to be.
Or how long have you been listening to my show, sir?
I've been listening to you a long time. I'm saying I haven't heard, I haven't been listening. I've been at work. Some of us have stuff to work.
No, I don't mean, sir, calm down. Don't get defensive. I'm not talking about today, but I'm talking about over the years. Have you been listening for quite some time?
Well, absolutely.
Okay, so in other words, you remember when I was on AM last year and I kind of changed the format and we started becoming a little more entertainment-oriented as opposed to the boring topical issues that I used to do?
Yes.
Well, it's going to be that. It's going to be entertainment. We're not going to scream and yell and carry on. Well, we might scream and yell, but not...
To tell you the truth, that was the best.
What's that?
I thought that you were at your best when you were alone. First thing in the morning at 10 o'clock, you'd come on, and you'd just rant and rave and carry on, and I thought that was the funniest thing I've ever heard. Honest to God.
He is
I mean that as a compliment.
All right, wait. Let me jump in here. There was a transition from when you did the hard issues to what you're doing now. It was when you were doing middays at INZ, where you weren't doing hard issues, but there was more, like during the Hallandale thing.
Thing.
There was more substance to it.
You would get on and you would talk for 20 minutes without taking a breath, and it would crack me up. I'd be in my car. I thought it was the best.
That's it, sir.
And then when
if it'll make you happy, I'll talk for 40 minutes,
Please.
Without taking a breath.
And then when you brought Mr. Hill in, I mean, sounds like a really nice guy, and he's very entertaining.
He's entertaining, he's a great guy, and he cackles like crazy.
You're at your best when you're alone. When you're just talking out there to the audience like you're talking one-on-one.
Well, let me tell you, sir, the last couple of weeks at Zeta, I felt like I was alone every morning, okay?
All right, well, good luck, and I'll be listening.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for your call. Let's go to Palm Beach. You're on WIOD. Hello.
Hi, Steve. How's it going? Okay, Neil, and I go back to the days of Morley up at J&O when you first got down here.
Yeah.
And it's great to have you back here. And,
I have a great memo that he wrote to me.
Oh, yeah, Morley was a joke, wasn't he?
He sure was. I was doing the morning show at that time. Well, I'd been doing nights talk, and then he stuck me on in the morning. And I remember this memo that they brought me. In fact, just a couple of months ago, somebody at J&O, maybe it was Lee, sent me a copy of this old memo that they found from Russ Morley and Neil Rogers. And I had said something like, damn, on the air. And he wrote me this memo about, we don't need that kind of language is necessary on WJNO, okay? It's hysterical.
Okay, well, I called up Lee, and I called up his board op, and I told him
Lee
that you two guys were on, so he probably got some dead air. I told him he ought to get the program on. And I don't know, Russ...
Is he on now?
Yeah, he's on from 3 until...
And listening during his breaks, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to be listening.
Yeah, Lee's on from 3 to 3:30 up there.
And then, Steve, this isn't critical. I would never be critical.
But
okay. It seemed to me like I started first with you, first I started with Neil, and then I started with you. I just thought in the last couple of months, and I know maybe you didn't mean this, but I thought you got a little bit into Neil's, maybe his sexual preferences. I mean, seemed like you didn't approve of it.
Yeah, well, Steve's a little obsessed about that.
Yeah, it sounded like you were getting a little hostile there. But
since he had the man from Namble on his show, he's never been quite the same. He can't see. In fact, if you could see some of the pictures in these baseball card books, you'd really go nuts, sir. Trust me.
Okay, and then just one more comment, please. If you could just keep up on that sports team, because I used to call this sports show all the time, and I was off for about 4 months. I called up Joe.
Well, what do you mean by keep up with the sports? You mean you like to hear sports?
No, I keep on to sports. No, keep on to... Because I called up Joe, and I thought we had a pretty good rapport going. And I called up Joe and I said, it's great about an announcement about Neil. Joe got so surly that I was on the line for 3 minutes. You should have heard me struggling. Joe wouldn't even talk to me.
What? You're kidding me.
Ask Joe about this call. Just say it's Lou from up in West Palm.
Wait a minute. Are you saying that Joe was surly about my coming here, sir?
Joe was surly to me. I said, isn't that great about Neil?
Now, let me ask you this. Sir. Was he awake when he was saying this to you, or did he sound like he may have been in the middle of a coma?
Well, he just got through talking to Keith Jackson, so if Keith Jackson can't wake you up...
that explains it.
Okay. I can't believe... You're not talking about Joe Zagacki. I talked to Joe up there. He's excited that Neil's here. They're all excited.
Well, he may be excited, but in a negative or positive way.
Listen,
no, he's
sir,
excited.
Let me tell you something. I will wake Joe Zagacki up before I leave this building, okay? Trust me.
Okay, and then I also...
He will be so animated like a Mexican jumping bean, okay?
Well, Joe needs that.
There will be players on the field who haven't been born yet, jumping from sideline to sideline, throwing and running like it, just incredible. Trust me.
Well, that's great.
A mile a minute.
And can I make one more comment? I think I may have been the only one in this area who got the reference to a Clint Courtney. scrap iron, so
Yeah.
and that went right over these people's heads, Neil. Like, you're going to have to give them some older baseball cards.
He was the
Okay.
first player to wear glasses on the field. wasn't
Really?
he?
Good, Tom.
I'll be gosh
Okay,
darn.
we'll catch you guys later.
Okay,
All
thanks
right,
a lot.
thanks for your
pal.
call. All right,
What
moving
was
right
that about
along.
Joe?
Did what?
What was that about Joe that he was saying? I can't believe that.
All right, let's go to, which line you want to go to? Line 6. Oh, he must have misinterpreted
Yeah.
that because Joe is excited.
Joe's a big
about-
fan of mine.
They are all excited in sports.
And Rick loves me, I know that.
Rick was
Because
just...
I've always seriously, okay, except for the kid in the run. No, seriously, have I not always said that Rick is one of the great play-by-play announcers in this country? Haven't I always said that?
Always.
And I mean it.
Absolutely.
In fact, there are three guys. There's Van Miller in Buffalo, there's Mark Champion in Tampa, and Rick, and I think those are the three best play-by-play men in the NFL.
And, of course, you are one of the great announcers,
In
sports
history,
announcers
that's
as well.
correct.
Is
As
it
we
true
will
that you
soon
were...
find out.
Were you were
That's
offered...
just a little joke,
Were you
okay?
not offered a... Were you not offered a job as
Why
a
do you want to
national
pick on these
sportscaster?
sports people? No, seriously.
Why do you stop?
Why do you want to pick on them?
I'm
Okay,
just-
they're nice guys. Now, look, Sonny and I mentioned this on Tuesday. Sonny and I go back all the way to March 1st of 76. I walked into the KAT building to do my first show. Sonny was standing there holding up the wall. It was incredible. And when I came in here the other day, Tuesday, Sonny was holding up the wall. He's a great guy. He really is, and he knows I mean that. He's one of the nice people in this business.
And you and Hank are good friends.
And Hank and I are good friends. We're fellow horse-playing comrades and fat guys.
Did you know I'm a horse player, too?
Are you
I
serious?
am a degenerate.
Well, you want to learn about the horses? We'll all take you out there and teach you
For a
what it's
period,
all
I was
about,
for a
okay?
period I was going out every Saturday. To
We
call.
will loosen you of that extra change that you've got real quick.
Wait a minute. Were you going to the track or going there and having lunch?
No, I mean plunging. Plunging.
Plunging his guts out. $3-4 a race.
No, you got the
Big
wrong
money.
guy.
Really?
Well, no, not that big, but I mean, $30 a race, $40 a race,
Good
decent
start.
sized
Yeah.
bets, decent sized bets.
Excellent.
All right, I'll tell you what, let's take a short break. We don't have time for a whole call, so why do a half a call? Let's check in with Clarence Lott in our exclusive WIOD Jetcopter. With you, tired of these calls. They're getting boring and all. Let's
No,
talk
they're
about
not.
Yes, well, they're all just there. They're all tinkling on you. Oh, Neil, welcome back. We love you.
They're not tinkling at all. They're talking about the sports people. They're talking about a whole potpourri of
First
crap
woman
here.
ripped us.
Oh, that was a
Exactly.
great call. That was a great call, but we haven't had... this is why I like
No,
it.
no,
Are there
don't
any
ask
good
him for
negative
hate
calls?
Okay,
Yes,
geez,
you want
let's-
hate calls.
Can't
Gotta
we
get
just take them as they come?
We gotta
Does
get
everything have to be contrived?
It has to... now, you see, I want to take issue with that. You always use this contrived. Contrived is not the word.
Staged.
Orchestrated. Orchestrated is
Yeah.
the word. All right, let's go to line 6 for an orchestrated call. You're on the air. Hello.
I absolutely agree with you, Steve. The thing is getting to be a little sleepy here.
I know you'll wake us up, sir. I sense it. I feel it in my bones, sir.
I think you're right. Okay, if we have, let's say, I would like to say we've got 3 heroes here. Okay, but I can only go so far as to say 2.5.
Is that a short joke?
Yeah.
Yeah, very short. Steve, we're sorry, but you're getting there. One of these days you're going to make it. Okay, getting to the
I guess it wasn't a short joke.
No.
You got me back, didn't you? I'd like
It wasn't that funny, sir, okay?
I'd like to see you people get a little bit more mean. I mean, this is the campaign season, and I think we ought to get a little more outrageous. I'd give you guys a 7 at least, but I think you all could go a little bit farther and, really let the sparks fly.
So you can't contrive these things. There is a natural process.
And take that from someone who knows.
At this
Sir,
point,
you can't orchestrate the meanness, okay?
Neil and I are in a honeymoon period here, sir.
Yeah, well,
we're
we'll see.
not. It's just
and I'm watching.
honeymoon period. We're just here, and it's just this is
We're
the way
getting
it's gonna
along.
be.
The vibes are good. We're having dinner next Wednesday night.
Okay. Let me cut short on the BS.
Just
Let
don't
me-
bring Rick Siderman. That's all I can ask.
I'm very excited about Neil coming to WIOD, and the 3 of you are going to do a number. But the problem that I have...
No.
Do you know something I don't know?
No.
That's why when he's upset. Don't you understand? He heard. Just kidding, Mike. Just relax.
a joke, Mike. Go ahead.
We all know that the station is going to be at least number 2, as Jicha says. And
Sir, can I interrupt for just a second?
Yeah.
Don't pay any attention to what Jicha said. Number 1, WLYF doesn't count, okay?
It's not really a radio
Background
station.
elevator slush music doesn't count, where people are not paying any attention, where they're captive audience, where they're prisoners to it because they're sitting in a doctor's office or in the dentist or they're locked in an elevator that's broken down.
Tell it like it is.
Forget about life, okay? We'll be number 1. Trust
Okay,
me.
you'll be number 1, but I mean a double-digit, big, bad number 1, and I think you guys can do
80 share.
it. Right, exactly. But we've got some problems here, and Jicha, as I said, is one of my heroes, and I'm now turning into after 25 years in the radio business and being screwed terribly.
You got a job for me?
No, wait a minute. This isn't Stuart, is it?
Yeah, it's
Stuart. Come on, Stuart. It's nice hearing from you, Stuart.
Well,
have a nice
wait
day,
a minute.
Stuart.
I may be terminal and chronic.
You
but
are.
Have a heart. Okay?
We do have a heart, Stuart. We love you, but
we're
you're
going to
boring.
put you out of
Okay.
your misery. We have
Stuart
a
is a nice guy, but he is so
nice,
terminal.
Bad
He's one
on
of
the
nicest
radio, really.
people,
I made the mistake of having him as a guest.
I heard you mention that yesterday.
Yes,
and I thought, boy, Steve, you never learn your lesson, do you?
Yeah.
But he's a nice guy. He's not
very nice
overly
guy.
sensitive.
Very
but,
nice. He used to call up.
Not overly interesting.
I used to
either.
listen to sometimes I'd be listening to your show and he'd call up and say how he attacked me.
Yeah.
When really what he'd done was called me and attacked
and
you.
tinkled all over you.
I
Yeah.
got to tell you,
another one of those chronic
ravers.
ravers. I know.
Okay, Pembroke.
You're a great guy, Stuart. Don't ever call the station again.
Pembroke Pines, you're on WIOD. Hello.
Hello, is Neil there?
Yes.
Neil, I wanted you to feel right at home.
Yeah, I do.
Demographics are sounding pretty desperate there in the early part of the show.
Boy, it sounds a lot like Sonny Fox, this thing.
Huh?
You sound like Sonny Fox's brothers, sir.
No, I'm not Sonny Fox's brother.
Like
Neil.
incoherent.
Incoherent?
Now, there you go, attacking
How's Grandma
my
Boone?
good friend Sonny.
How did you know that, Neil?
Go ahead, sir. I'm just kidding. Just
All
a
right,
little
no, yeah.
joke.
Neil, I want to say nice things about you, and here you are insulting me already. That's why I love you.
Go right ahead, sir.
Anyhow, Neil, we're sure going to miss you in the morning because I'll tell you why. It was great to start out with some very sincere laughs in the morning, and your show was one of the greatest, and we'll miss you in the morning. But
I won't. I don't want to get up at 4:30 in the morning the rest of my life, okay?
Well, now
I'm sick of it.
you get Ranieri in the morning and then Neil after Ranieri.
Well,
You're going to tell me that Mike won't brighten your day?
well, Mike's a good guy.
No, of course. So what are you complaining about?
I wanted to ask.
By the way, sir, just a second. Hold on a second,
Hold on a
okay?
second.
Because I see Mitch is in the other room. Now, Sunday, is somebody going to be here to let me in? I hate to do this on the air, but otherwise, it'll be 6 o'clock and
No,
these
it's
people
okay.
will all be left. There will be?
What, are you coming in to cut your music on Sunday?
Yeah, to dub all my stuff.
Right.
Put all that stuff
sounds
that you
great.
want to hear, like Jet Boy, Jet the Douchebag.
I can't wait for
What
that.
time are we going to do this? Noon? 1? 1? Yeah, 1 is okay.
Hey, Neil,
But then I'll miss the ball game. But 1 is good. Yes, sir.
can we talk to you, sir?
Go ahead.
Yes, Neil. I've been waiting for you here. Now, have they given you a relatively free hand there on your format?
Yes, sir.
Have they?
Mm-hmm. Both hands.
You're going to go. You're going to go back and do the show that you used to do on INZ or in the office?
Pretty close, in the same neighborhood, that's right. No, seriously, I haven't mentioned this, and once upon a time, I said on the air, in a moment of indiscretion, I said if they offered me $1 million, I wouldn't come to work for WIOD,
You
and I
did
wouldn't
say
work.
that.
I wouldn't work. See, but I'm bringing it up.
but
and I
see-
wouldn't work for Mike Disney, and it's just another one of these guys in a gray flannel suit, and I was wrong. And my first impressions were wrong, and I've met with the guy several times, and he's a for real person.
You also said you'd
and
never
Bill
work
Wise
with me
is
again.
a for real person, and Steve is working on it. And the bottom line is that they have made me an offer I can't refuse.
No,
Right up front, we've discussed the parameters and what we're going to do, what we're not going to do, and that's the way to do it. We're going to do it right.
See, you're my kind of guy, Neil. $1.2 million changed your mind, right?
Right. No, they're not paying me $1 million, sir. That's why I came to work. For $1 million, I wouldn't have done it.
Is Glenn Hill going to be with you? I missed that part.
Yes, he will be here, even though they left it out of the Miami News. Glenn will be on the show.
Well, I think Glenn's a great guy,
He
and
is.
you two together are a wonderful team. We're looking forward to you, and lots of good luck to you.
Thank you, sir.
All right,
See,
thanks for
they
your
are
call.
tinkling. You're right.
Everybody's so nice. I mean,
Well,
there's
what's
gotta be
wrong
a
with
negative
that?
call.
Can't we have it's Friday? People are driving home in their cars. They're out there in that horrendous traffic. They don't want to hear all these screaming.
Let me
and
ask you.
Friday, you feel good. Can I give you a little? Listen, I want to give you a little programming advice.
Go
Okay.
ahead. I'm always open
I'm
to
serious.
advice.
2 to 4. Get all your screaming Mimis in here. Rick Siderman and Norman Kent and Ellis Rubin and Jack Lieberman and screaming. 4 to 6 in this market. People are on the highway. They're in their cars. They want to be entertained. They want to laugh. They want to have a good time.
Don't you understand when I do these hostile confrontations, they are comedy routines? People laugh all the time when Rick Siderman is in here. Can you believe
I know
that?
I would, yeah. Laugh or cry, one or the other.
I rest my case. But let me ask you
What
this.
a militant,
I have to
right-wing,
ask you,
homophobic,
do you get the feeling he doesn't
subhuman
like Rick
douchebag.
Siderman? Rick is coming in later
Mr.
today.
Siderman, at 4:32 on November 4th, Neil Rogers called you a screaming Mimi.
Okay, go
let
write
me
your
ask
letter,
you-
Tom.
Let me ask you a question. I have suspected for the longest time.
I didn't call him a screaming Mimi. I called him a subhuman.
He is going to be here within the hour, and you can tell
For
him to his
what?
face. I don't know. He just comes by to say hi. He won't be in the
I
studio.
met another Dr. Votz, okay?
He just drops
This
in.
is
He'll
a
be
man-
in the control
this is a
room, and
guy,
he'll wave, and you'll
every
get to
time
see
he
him with his
comes on
70
your
pounds
show.
that he took off with
Every
Nutraceutics.
time he used to be on with the late John Brower, and every time he comes on your show, he's got to go into all... When he was on with Bob Kuntz, the big thing about me, he is more obsessed with me than you are, and I thought that was almost impossible.
Well,
obsessed.
But you have to concede that you are equally obsessed with him. You've brought up
No,
his
I'm
name about
not.
Tom, I put it to you.
What?
has Neil
Because
not
I
brought up
listened to your
Mr.
show
Seidemann
yesterday,
12?
and I'm wondering
he started
what his
the show
role
by
is.
saying, don't bring up Seidemann. He keeps
Well, you
referring
keep
to
bringing him up.
Seidemann.
You bring him up in every spot.
Yeah, I mean, you brought
His
him
name
up
is
more
in
than
every
me.
spot.
I don't want to get in the middle of who said it, but you
get
just bring
in the
him
middle
up.
of it. No, but he just did. I didn't do it. Did he not? Does
Well,
he
I
not
would
keep
say
referring?
it's kind of a dead heat at the moment. You bring him up. I mean,
All right.
yeah.
I mean, it's a mutual obsession. You
That's
two
what I
have
always
for
said
each other.
about
But I
Rick.
want to get back.
Dead heat.
I want to get back to my. I want to get back to my question. I always had the feeling that you don't really see. I relish hostile calls. Nick knows he has instructions when he gets.
Oh, I
hostile
love
calls.
them.
You do
I
like
absolutely like that first bag that called today. That was great.
The high point of the day.
How about that? Well, you're struggling. That woman that was calling me.
All right, now will you have a nasty call for us here, please? A little bit of a nasty. If they're not nasty, open up some lines and leave a nasty line open here. Enough is enough. Broward, you're on WIOD. Hello.
Hello, Neil. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Way to go. You know, this is great. I'm really happy for you. And finally, those people that have been listening to you on Zeta who didn't listen to you on AM, now that the muzzle is cut, they're going to find out what a talent
Yeah, I
you
feel
truly
like
are.
one of the dogs from Biscayne that ran off the course and somebody cut the muzzle off finally. It can
One of
actually
Tom's
open my
dogs,
mouth again. Yeah.
And then you have those marks across your lips still?
Yeah, absolutely.
The face there?
Richard Marx.
That's right. Henry Marks.
Karl Marx.
Karl Marx.
Moving along, sir.
Groucho Marx.
Listen,
Harpo.
Neil,
Chico.
can you do Steve?
Zeppo. What?
You got me.
Can you do Steve Kane a big favor for me?
What is that, sir?
Please buy him some socks.
No, Ernie Sochin's bringing some in tomorrow, as a matter of fact.
This is interesting. How do you know that I don't wear socks, sir? Which I don't. But
I don't either.
You don't wear socks
No.
either? Something else we have
When
in
you're
common.
in Florida, you don't wear, unless you're an idiot, sir.
Well,
when you're in
I'm glad
Florida, you
socks
don't
you
wear
don't wear,
socks.
not underwear.
I mean, if you go out to a four-star restaurant, I guess you wear socks, but not just hanging around. Not to work, certainly.
The only time I wear socks is when I visit my sponsors, sir.
Oh, well, Lori told me your feet stink.
This is
There's
this
a
is a
hostile
funny line, right?
Yeah.
This is a hostile but unfunny
You're a
line.
cretin.
Keep going, sir. I mean,
Neanderthal.
you know what I love?
I bet you he doesn't know more than 10 words.
No, and we're going to hear all of them now. No, sorry, let's see, with guys like this. Now, they're used to...
Neil.
Now, this I love.
What do you want, sir?
Please call him a
No, wait,
douchebag for me.
sir, don't hide behind Neil. Just wait a minute, sir. Rather than cut you off, which is what you figured I would do, I'm just going to let you hang out there to dry and dangle in the wind. I want you to show everybody how stupid you are. So go ahead, sir.
Stupid.
Keep going, sir.
You're a cretin, a
I like it.
douchebag.
Good. Excellent.
Okay.
Excellent.
How
All right, is that it?
Sir, how about mung brain?
He's a mung brain.
Okay. Excellent, sir. Now, have you given us the entire limits of your intellectual capacity at this point?
Well, it's minus infinity, so...
Infinity,
Oh, gee,
yes.
he's ripping off too much of my
Try
material. Get him
minus
out of here.
infinity.
Yeah.
Let's go to line 3. Oh, an attack from Miami. Hello.
Hi, it's me?
No, it's me.
Okay, well, sounds like me.
Can you speak up? Now that you mention it, it does. Now, speak up just a little bit, sir.
Okay.
Let's get some energy. Let's get some excitement. Let's get this thing going, sir.
I'm probably the only person that is not surprised that Neil is at your station because I know that for years he's been working for Cox.
I like that. That's
I know
funny.
it's coming, yeah.
That's funny. Yes. Is that it, sir?
That's it.
That's it. God, what a the material is.
Boy, you got some good ones out there.
I
I'll tell
mean,
you.
these are your
These people ought to
callers.
wind up on WNWS pretty soon. with their own
I'm sure
shows.
they will. I'm sure they will. Let them go
Undoubtedly.
harass Al. Hello, you're on WIOD. Hello.
Yes, hello.
Yeah,
Steve.
hi. Yeah.
Hi, Neil. How you doing?
Okay.
Welcome to IOD. I'm glad you're there.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Look, I know you probably can't say this on the air, that guy that's been hassling you. Is there any problem on this station, you think?
There is no problem, sir.
I was asking Neil that.
Well, I'm answering it, sir. It's my show. Any other questions?
No, that's it.
All right, thank you. Boy, I got to tell you the level of... Where are we going next? Line 3, Miami. You're on WIOD.
Neil.
Yeah.
How you doing? It's Manny from Kendall.
Hey, Manny, how you doing? Now, wait a minute. Don't get exasperated.
I didn't say a word.
Manny is
I'm
a
just
great
sitting
caller.
here minding
He's
my
under
own
the age
business.
of 100. He's got an IQ of over 3. He's a great guy.
How you doing?
Great. How you doing, Manny?
I'm all right. I was really surly the other day when I heard you go off the radio.
Why is that?
Because I wasn't going to be able to hear you for at least a week.
Aren't you pleased, though, that I got out of that subhuman place where they were muzzling me and treating me like some kind of slime ball garbage, and that actually now I can come somewhere where they aren't going to come in every day and go, ba 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 ba, why'd you do this? Ba 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 ba. You know, who needs that, Manny?
I'm
Who
just
needs
glad
that?
you could be yourself now, and we can talk and have our own little conversations, if you know what I mean.
Exactly.
What was I going to say? Steve.
Yes.
Started listening to you about a month ago.
And, you know, I thought you were a jerk at first.
Probably you got that impression from listening to some morning FM station.
No, that's not. He had nothing to do with it. But I think mainly I thought that because I have contrasting points of view with you. But I enjoy your show.
Well, I'm pleased.
And
any friend of Neil's is a friend of mine.
Yeah,
and any friend of mine is
that's why Steve's got so many friends.
Well, Neil.
Yeah.
I just want you to know I'm happy and good luck. And I was wondering, have you heard Dave's show in the morning?
No,
yet?
I haven't. I must confess, I haven't heard one. I'm glad you mentioned that because I wish Capri all the luck in the world. He's a super guy. He did a great job for us, and I wish him all the luck in the world. But no, I haven't heard 1 minute.
And if he'd cheer up a little bit, he's a little down.
Well, he ought to be a little down.
I can understand it, but I love that thing he said. I was listening when on the last day when he was saying he feels like the character in the movie when the three soldiers are running away, one gets shot, and the one who shot is wounded says, "Go ahead, get away. You can get away. Leave me here."
Yeah.
Poor Dave.
Go on
But I got to
without
say,
me.
I think Dave is a talent, and I think Dave could.
He's a great talent.
I think he could be a great, morning man by himself, but he's got to cheer up.
Yeah, Neil. He was really upset, but
he'll get over it.
I guess kind of, him, not being with you anymore is kind of like me having you and losing you.
There you go. Well, Manny,
or anybody having you and losing you for that
it's
matter.
really touching, right? Listen, have a great day, Manny.
All right, we appreciate your
I
call.
said he was a great guy. I didn't say he was a good call. Okay.
Let's
you
go.
Can't have everything.
Let's see what it says here. Pembroke Pines.
Can I ask you a question before you go on? You can't see this
No,
stuff,
I can't.
okay,
I'm
at
going
all.
blind.
No, don't say you're going blind. What
No,
a
I
horrible
am.
thing to say.
Well, I am. It's been.
What do you mean you are?
It's just happened lately. I can't read this.
But he
thing
says
here.
it like he means it.
Well, I do.
Like
mean
it's
it.
a joke.
I feel that way. I feel that because in the last few.
Maybe if you took the.
I
he's
have
wearing
contacts.
You have
That's his
contacts
problem.
and you still can't
You can't see that he's wearing
think people have
contacts. They're as
eyes
blue
that are
as,
this color? Oh. I haven't really looked
They're
that
as
close.
blue as
You
one of
haven't
those
been
fluorescent
that-
bowling balls.
Well, I have. You haven't been that close
but
to me.
they're
Maybe
good
if you'd get those things out and you'd put on your bifocals. See, I got bifocals, but they're the new ones that don't have the lines and everything.
Well, see, I don't want to wear glasses because it spoils
you're
my
vain.
image.
Yeah,
Yes.
oh, I see. Because Shirley told you don't.
No,
you didn't
I
really
want to
do
look.
that.
I want to
Did you get your image
handsome.
shaped up by
Yes,
Shirley?
Yes. She sent me.
Is that
one-
why you like Shirley?
They,
Is that
they
it?
said they flew me to California and they redid my whole image and they.
You and Hank,
showed
man,
me
these guys that keep flying to California to go, get their bodies all straightened out.
Yeah,
What's
I mean-
that? How come I haven't seen Hank yet?
Hank Oberg?
I think
Yeah,
he's
I don't know. Is Hank
Does
here
he
yet?
work tonight?
He's going to be on Sports
Well, he
Talk.
better get in here before he goes on the air because I want to see him. I want to see how it's
You know,
spelled.
Hank is welcome.
Hank is a
to
great
come
guy.
here anytime he wants to. I love Hank.
Do I detect a little bit of bitterness? Because isn't this
No,
interesting?
I am-
Hank is- wait a minute.
That's right. Yeah,
Hank
Hank's
is a friend of mine.
Right.
And you and Hank don't get along.
So what?
It's almost like there's this yin and yang thing. It's like eating in a Chinese restaurant. Every friend of his hates me, and every friend of mine hates him.
Well, I don't know. Look at Tom. He's a mutual friend, sort of.
Well,
right?
he's not too fond of you. But, no, you're all right. No, he
All
was a
right,
little
let's-
hostile when you guys kept yanking him around there, but he's all right.
He's not. What do you mean? He didn't blame that on me. Is there anything you want to tell me?
When you kept canceling his appearance,
I didn't do that.
Somebody did.
Your producer did. Oh,
Yeah.
You remember that when
Yeah.
they kept yanking you around.
Oh, yeah, that's right. When I went on.
You were
yeah,
angry
see,
at me?
about
Forgot
3
about
or
it
4
now.
different times.
You were angry at me?
No, I wasn't angry at you.
So what are you talking about? Troublemaker here.
Exactly. Well,
I
you
mean, we
wanted
got
some
one
hostility,
mutual.
I was
didn't
angry
you?
at the
Didn't
situation.
you want
but
some
not-
hostility?
We got one mutual friend, and you're
Once he
trying to
gets-
spoil
once
it.
he gets
No.
hostile, man, you're really in trouble. I'm telling you that right now. I once said something about some column he wrote about
No,
the
that was
space
my
shuttle, and
wife
his
who
wife
got mad.
hysterical.
She's still
and
mad.
I saw them at
That's
the
right,
dog
she might
track
not
one
show
night,
up
and she
Wednesday. That was
was
Pompano.
throwing things at me.
I remember the
That's right,
time.
She might not show up Wednesday.
I remember the time he stiffed you on a show and you berated him in terms that I've.
Never, ever.
No, he didn't stiff me on a show. What happened is that day that he filled in for Sandy.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
It was a couple of days before I was supposed to be on his show.
He filled it. It was like an emergency thing, and
then
he
you
filled in for
canceled
Sandy.
him or something?
No,
No,
I
he came on.
thought it was
We just
something.
had a little dialogue back
That's
and
all.
forth.
We've had our moments. I
But
wrote
the
a column about Reverend Emma that he still carries around.
Oh, she'll be my first guest, by the way, Monday.
Yeah. No, we've
Just
had
a
our
joke,
moments.
Emma.
Yeah.
Hey,
Don't
I
show
understand.
up.
Hey, I understand. To have a relationship with Neil, it's got to be volatile. Look at Stan. May he rest in peace. Look at Stan. I mean, he was your friend, and then you had a falling out, and it's
Was
love-hate
that?
stuff.
When has he not been my friend? He's been my friend for 10
You
years.
guys didn't have an argument?
Do you have any friends that you've never had an argument with?
That's what I'm saying. That's the point I'm making.
But does that make your relationship volatile?
That's what that's what volatile means, up and down. volatile.
Up and down. That's not my kind of relationship with Stan. Are we going to take another call, or are you going to?
No, as a matter of fact, we are going to take a short break.
We got to that time of the hour.
Check in with Clarence Lott, and we're going to wait for open up a hostile line there. Let some hostile callers in. Let's check in with Clarence and the exclusive WIOD Jetcopter. It is 9 minutes after 5 o'clock. I am Steve Kane, News Talk Radio 610 WIOD, the new South Florida superstation. My guest, Tom Jicha, and a yawning Neil Rogers. What can I do to cheer you up?
I'm going through a whole changeover in time now.
Ah,
to understand, I've been getting up at 4:30 for over a year.
I thought it was the show.
Now,
I got scared.
Well, that's part of it. It's getting a little ponderous.
Okay. Let's go to Fort Lauderdale. You're on WIOD. Hello.
Hello. How are you doing?
Pretty good.
Good. Yeah, this is an exciting show. Jesus, the helicopter report was about the most exciting thing in the last 3 hours.
Thanks a lot, pal.
Well, you're here to brighten it up.
That's right. Hey, Neil, I wanted to ask you
How's your show doing, pal?
I'm in between lives,
Oh, yeah.
Neil, I wanted to ask you something.
Like most of these callers.
That's right. When did it first come out that you were gay? Was that on the radio, or was it a news article, or something at this time?
It was December 17th, 1976. When you write the book, you can. There's the date for you.
No, was it on the radio or something?
It was on
that?
WKAT. That is correct.
Oh, was it because of a Gay Pride Day or something of this nature?
No, because the Anita Bryant stuff was just starting then, and my good friend Bob Kunst had decided it would be a good idea if somebody came forward and had a little.
And you volunteered.
And I volunteered, and put my head out on the block, and they took a good chop.
Wait a minute, you mean you did that at Bob's suggestion?
Bob, as a matter of fact, Bob was on this station the night before. He was on with Larry King and talking about some whatever it was, and I was listening, and he said, somebody has got to come forward and have some courage and, come out and stand up and be a front. And he moved me, yes.
And that was the last time.
Hurt or helped your career or had any effect at all?
Well, all I can tell you is I've been number one on every day part on every station that I've been at ever since, so I can't see how it's hurt.
That's true. I think it creates a little controversy for those that want to have it controversial, and maybe it gives you
I think it's become a non-issue.
Who cares?
Well, I don't say that it cares at all, but...
there are some people out there who care, but that's their problem,
That's right. But that's what causes the controversy, and that's what makes these shows exciting,
Exactly.
Right, has nothing to do with his talent.
No, absolutely not. Well, you're new to
I
me.
think that's typical. Anything like that, any secret you have is only important as long as you're hiding it. Once it's out in the open, then it's not something that can be used one way or the other.
Exactly.
Which is why I talk about all of my perversions.
That's right. That's why we enjoy listening. You know that. Okay,
see, actually, to tell you the truth, I'm even more explicit than Neil. I go into every intimate act that I've ever committed.
Yeah, which I think is a little bit much,
Oh, no, I think it's fun.
Great, good luck to you.
Hey, when do you think Jeff Stryker is going to be coming on?
The tentative schedule that we're shooting for is before the end of the year.
Now listen, I got from the soundtrack. I've got "Bigger Than Life," the song.
You do?
That he sings, and we'll bring it in here. You can play it that day.
Will you stay over the whole time?
In fact, we can work out a little deal. As a matter of fact, yeah.
All right.
I'll bring in the card.
I'm glad I called because I was getting ready to switch over to Life for some excitement.
The only thing that you feel you brought life to the show, huh?
Well,
delusions.
No, because he heard me say "get a life."
Delusions of grandeur. Listen, I hear rumors. I don't know if they're true or not. That Jeff, as good as he looks, does not talk too well. That is correct?
Absolutely.
That is correct. So
he's kind of from the Arnold Schwarzenegger school of dialogue.
Did you see Schwarzenegger with George
Bush?
Yeah. Can you imagine what the next time he shows up at Hyannis?
Hyannis.
Well, they're having. Haven't you been reading about that?
I know that they're having their problem. Well, I don't. Yeah, I'm not a big Inquirer fan, but
in fact, that's what happened to Maria's chin. That's why it disappeared. They had a little political argument.
All right, thank
you so much, pal.
We thank you for calling. Hello, you're on WIOD.
Hi there. I just wanted to say that we all have freedom of choice, and I think that Neil being at your station probably made life a lot simpler for me because it's the best thing that could happen to Sandy Payton.
Oh, really? Yes, I understand she is rejoicing.
Yeah, well, the last time Sandy and I were on against each other, let's see, the ratings came out. I had a 9 share and Sandy had a 2.7, I think.
But she was close. She was close.
Yeah, she was right in there.
You're going to have people out there that prefer Dukes of Hazzard to 60 Minutes, too. But Steve, I think, Steve, I enjoy your program, and sitting in the studio watching.
So let me ask you this question.
Sure.
Which shows of Sandy's do you like the best? Do you like the one with the TV repairman or the collectibles guy? Which one is the favorite?
Neither of those, really.
Okay.
My favorite is that English charlatan that reads minds. What the hell was his name?
I turn him off in a hurry. Sebastian or something like that.
Sebastian. Oh, one of my personal favorites.
No, but I do think she has a good program and she prepares it well. But I think the audience
It's a quality show, sir. A quality show.
Yeah.
But if the audience is missing out because they don't have an opportunity really to sit in the studio and watch Steve get involved and everything that he says. And when he gets the call, his eyes light up and a little glint in his eye.
Have you ever been on my show?
Oh, Steve, yeah, I've got a bunch of pictures of you. I've captured your...
Oh, I know who this is.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, I'm
is this
sorry
one of your
about that.
groupies?
No, this is Captain Midnight.
Isn't it interesting? Another friend of his is an enemy of yours.
Another one of Steve's friends.
Small world.
Yeah.
But, no,
Sir, I want to tell you this in all honesty. You will be listening to every word on my show starting Monday. You'll be hanging on it. You won't be able to turn it off in spite of all your protestations. Trust me, okay?
Well, I
go to the bank on
I will listen because I believe in giving everybody a chance.
I know.
No, but wait a minute. Now, sir, now, Captain.
Yes, sir.
In all fairness, you're out of the military now. You don't have to call me sir. You can just call me Steve. You began the call by saying what a wonderful thing it was for Neil to come over here because it was going to do so much for Sandy's listening audience, and now it turns out that even you're not going to be listening to Sandy.
No,
Isn't there a bit of
I'm gonna
hypocrisy
listen to him
there?
one time, but I know what he's going to do.
And what will that be,
Jet
sir?
boy, jet girl, for among other things.
What will that be, sir?
No, if he gets into the
Sex. Say it, Captain. Sex.
some of the songs that are
The S word.
I don't agree with.
Yeah,
or
the S word.
Wait. Some of the songs you don't agree with? I don't understand that. That would be like, even Dan Quayle isn't that stupid, sir. He wouldn't get up in the debate and say, well, there's some songs that I just don't agree with.
No, I have specifics.
Like what?
All right, I have listened because of the controversy going on about you before. I don't believe in listening to or reading the newspaper and believing or
Thanks
whatever.
a lot. That's why I'm going out of business.
Exactly. Nobody reads a damn newspaper anymore, sir. Go out and spend a quarter, will you? Tom might
I
save his
did. I bought
job.
it this afternoon. Geraldo's on the front page.
Good for you,
Right.
sir. So did I.
Do you like my
50
column?
cents.
What did I write about today?
I haven't read that yet. I just picked it up.
What did I write about?
But anyhow, the point is I heard you, Neil, when you're talking about
I want to read tomorrow's column. What?
the Publix bag boys and you're
I
going to
don't,
the
sir, I don't
restaurant.
have any song about the Publix bag.
No.
boys.
When I was listening to your show, you had something about the Publix bag boys and something about I-95. And to me, it was just personally objectionable. I'm not trying to change everybody else's opinion, and so I flipped.
Yeah, but Captain, explain to Neil. See, Neil doesn't know you as intimately as I do. That
Thank God.
you are ultra straight and conservative, and you believe in in what should I say?
This is true.
Love Jesus or I'll kill you.
Sort of.
Yeah.
And there are sometimes that, some of the topics that Steve has that I don't particularly care for.
Right.
And I think Steve handles them in a very good way, though. And
Like you were in the studio when I was with Vanessa.
that's correct.
And didn't I handle her with taste?
I'll bet you did, yeah.
With a tremendous
And
amount
Lori
of
was
taste.
pretty
A
upset about it.
tremendous. It was a tremendous. It was a tremendous
Big,
show.
yeah.
Yes,
It was
big show.
informative. It wasn't obscene, and
What you're
so
saying
in
is-
other words, if I say something about the Publix bag boys, that's terrible and it offends you. But if you're in here with Vanessa Del Rio looking at her big boobs, then all of a sudden it's wonderful, right, sir?
Well, that's
Is that what you're
normal,
saying?
Neil. That's normal.
Suppose Vanessa Del Rio started working at the checkout at Publix. Would that make it better?
no, I still go to Winn-Dixie. That's one of Steve's.
All right.
Now you're talking.
Now this
have better
man is
big bag
a
boys
great
anyway.
caller.
But, Neil, I'll give it a shot, and I'll listen to it. I've heard you've got a tremendous sense of humor and wit, and I enjoy that. I want to try it. But if it gets a little perverse, I'll turn it off, and I'll turn it back on.
Well, Captain, just loosen up a little bit.
Just try to
It's
calm
just
down.
a
Okay, it's just
joke.
a radio show, okay? It's not like the end of your life.
Oh,
All right.
I realize that. That's why I can call
Very
in. I can talk, and
emotional
I can
callers
listen,
you've got.
He's
Okay,
a very emotional
have a wonderful
man.
weekend.
All right, thank you for calling.
And we'll be looking for you first thing Monday because I know you'll be there.
Let's go
Trust
to
me.
Pompano. You're on WIOD.
Well, I can understand the lion laying down with the lamb, and after listening to the chemistry on today's program, I can even understand the Kane laying down with the Rogers. But if the day ever comes when Neil befriends that sleazy, repulsive maggot who Neil himself once referred to as a piece of human excrement,
Who is that, sir?
Who do you think?
and by the way, I disagree with you, he's a piece of reptile excrement.
Oh,
is it?
now, don't. You know who he's talking
If
about.
that day
Your
ever,
friend.
let me just finish. If that
I
day
have so
ever
many.
comes, then every bit of credibility that he has
Wait a minute. Now,
left.
who are we talking about?
You know who I'm talking about.
Why don't you say his name?
Siderman.
Oh, sir.
What other maggot is
sir,
there?
let me tell you, the chances of that happening are the same as the chances of Steve signing over his next 10 years' paychecks to me, okay? It's not going to happen.
Well, what I was going to say was if it ever did, every bit of credibility that you had left would fit in a thimble, and there'd be enough room left over for the fundamentalist army.
There's as much chance of that happening as my coming out for Bush and Quayle on Monday, okay?
That's because Neil isn't as open and flexible as I am.
Don't go to the football game on Sunday afternoon with Steve. And don't even get anywhere near the sleaze bag.
Who, me?
Yeah, Neil.
Trust me.
No, I mean, what'd you call it? You called me a sleaze,
No,
sir?
not you.
Oh.
Your buddy.
Your friend.
Oh,
Your
Rick.
good pal.
Rick is a very
You're a
nice
right-wing,
man.
homophobic, extremist douchebag.
Hey, that's just an act.
A
He's not
maggot.
really.
You got it, sir.
All right. Don't insult my friends, sir. Give me a break.
Even if it is true.
We are going to take a short break for a jetcopter.
What? Everything
How
has
about
been
what you're
great.
coming to the air? The whole thing
Everything
is so fabulous.
great. This is just like a dry run here.
Really? I mean, just imagine what would happen if you were, if you were working at one of the other radio stations. They probably wouldn't be in such bad trouble.
What? One of the ones that's like going off the air or something?
Now, don't start to
I
get me in
didn't
trouble
say anything.
again.
There just are a lot of rumors flying around.
I
okay?
have those rumors
First of all,
and
let
the
me...
denial in my column on Monday morning.
Really?
Yeah. They deny it.
Oh,
Everything
no.
is a big rumor.
Oh, my God.
Speaking of a rumor,
Mr. Siderman, I didn't think you were actually coming in the studio. I mean, I knew you were coming down here.
Does this mean you're going to endorse Bush and Quayle on Monday morning?
does what mean? I haven't said a word.
The day you're in the same studio.
No, I didn't say the day I was in the same studio. I said the day that I befriended this gentleman. I used the term loosely.
I just happened to be getting a Coke down the block when I heard the compliments a few minutes ago.
Well, some of the people
that
have
were
been
right
very
on
nasty.
line with some of the wonderful things that I've heard said
That have
about me.
been
They were
very
right,
nasty. But I've stuck up for you, Rick.
I heard you. I was listening to you more than Neil, believe me.
Well, good. I mean,
Is this part of the show now? Does he just like come in and grab a mic and to become a part of the show? What is this?
He's going to be nice.
He's like
though,
the
right?
Dr.
You're going to
Voss.
behave yourself,
I'm
right?
going to wait for you outside.
Does that mean you're going to beat me up? Okay, no, just be nice.
be
Say
nice.
hi to Neil. Welcome him to the show.
Thank you so much.
All right?
Whatever it is you said, yeah.
Okay. We will see you later. Thanks for coming in. I got to tell you, it took a lot of guts.
For what?
I don't know.
Boy, this is bizarre.
Well, this is great theater, though.
Yeah, but nobody can see the picture.
Yeah, but we're in here in the studio. That's where we're on radio. We're not on television.
That's true. I forgot all about that in the passion of the moment. I'll see you after the show. All right, good. When he said he was going to meet me in the parking lot, it sounded like he was going to beat
Yeah, it
me
sounds
up.
like something clandestine to me.
So what will we, don't start those rumors. You know how rumors fly in this business.
I sure do. And he looked at you with a certain, look.
Rick and I are
that only very, very close individuals.
Rick and I
people
are
who had
very
a
close.
very tight rapport.
Very, very
would
close.
look at each other with.
Rick comes over for dinner all the time. Lori cooks for both of us. She'll cook a turkey and invite Rick over. And
you share the bird, huh?
And we share the bird, so to speak.
Wow.
So anyway, what were you saying?
No, but I don't, seriously.
Yes.
I mean, I don't want to just like he was standing there with that rather intimidating look. Like, what was that all about? I don't like the man. He has said the most vicious.
I would be upset if you liked him.
I could be construed as saying vicious things too, but I don't do them in a personal way. But he has gone on 2 stations now, or maybe it's 3, and is obsessed. I mean, his homophobia is legendary. He makes Anita Bryant look like Ted Kennedy. Okay.
Let me ask you a question.
I don't understand what the story is. Why would he be standing here like looking in? He's not a part of. Is he?
No.
Is he a part of the show? Is he on the payroll?
Rick comes down to the station all the time to meet me after the show, and we go out for a drink.
To meet you after the show?
Absolutely. Yeah.
What is it? It's like 5. It was 5:25 when he was in here. The show ends at 6.
Early.
Right?
I want to ask you a question. You know and again, this gets into my favorite thing, which is the field of psychology and therapy. They say that there is a very thin line separating love and hate. What are your feelings about that?
I think that's a lot of crap.
Is that what you really feel?
Exactly. I think that's a lot of crap.
I agree with that.
You agree with
that?
You agree with
I
what?
think I agree with you that it's a lot of crap.
Yeah. Oh, it's just a trite old cliche. You don't want to start reverting back to that old Southern California lingo. You don't want to do that pseudo-psychological take a risk.
I can only think
you transcended that.
Yeah, you're both going to be there.
I don't think
of only
those
one
things
person
anymore. You haven't said anything even like that.
I do. In this world
you
right
don't.
now, and it is not a thin line from loving him. I guarantee you that.
I think let's put it this way. I think there are exceptions, but I mean sometimes.
Or you really are stretching it, aren't you?
Sometimes
can't you accept the fact that there are some people who don't get along? Okay, and you know it's one thing you and I. No, seriously, it's one thing you and I are broadcasters. We're entertainers.
Right.
We're this. We're that.
Right.
And I'm not saying that everything I've ever said on you about on the air is been a lie, or I didn't feel it at the time I said it. But the point is, a lot of what we did was part of an overall shtick. And even if I did mean it at the time, that tied into the shtick that was going on. But when there are certain people who are so full of venom and hate and distort and lie and twist and, you know, would like to take a dagger and stab it through your heart, like the caller said a few minutes ago. And then I'm supposed to come on and say, oh, hey, Rick, how you doing, baby? My good friend.
I didn't expect you to say that.
It isn't going to happen.
Now, you must understand.
It isn't going to happen
I am one of these people.
It would be like expecting Menachem Begin to befriend Hermann Goering, okay? It just wasn't going to happen.
Or like Meyer Kahana to...
embracing Dr. Mengele.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, there's another
It just
example.
wasn't going to happen.
Like taking Adolf Hitler, you mean to tell me there was a thin line between him and
you
loving
can't
Jews?
compare Rick Seidemann to Adolf Hitler.
No, but I'm sorry, you're saying the thin line between love and hate.
I mean,
that's one of those great cliches.
I
that
said,
has no basis in
said
fact.
there are exceptions, but you got to understand what create peace between people. No, I'm telling you,
you promote conflict, Steve.
But
that's your whole shtick.
See, what you like to know,
conflict and then resolution.
Let me paint you exactly. What you like to do is take, for example, you go to the beach, and here are a bunch of kids that have built this beautiful sandcastle. For 4 days, they've been working on this gigantic sandcastle, and what you're the kind of person who'd like to come along with a bulldozer, knock it down, then sit the kids down and say, hey, let's all get together and build it up again.
I think that's a good analogy.
Yeah.
I think that's true.
Exactly.
Because that's what life is about.
Knocking down and building up.
Knocking down and building up.
Tearing apart.
Absolutely. Growth and rebirth and all that stuff.
Well, why can't you build without destroying first?
Exactly. Why couldn't you come along and say, hey, let's just add to it and make it even bigger and better?
I mean, I personally believe that you and Rick as a relationship was torn down long before I got here.
Exactly. There is no relationship.
Hate is a relationship. Hate is a relationship. Antagonism is a relationship.
First of all, let me say this to you. I don't know the man well enough
to hate him.
Oh, however,
then there's hope.
No, wait, there's no hope. But the bottom line is that every encounter I've had at WINZ and some of the stuff I've heard here has been the most grotesque distortion, the most horrendous crap, the most bigoted, narrow-minded, intolerant garbage. And I'm not going to buy into that.
Well,
I'm not going to embrace someone who represents everything that's the antithesis of what I stand for. But, you know, here's his good buddy that he used to be on with me. He rest in peace. When I first came to INZ 4 or 5 years ago, made a big to-do about, I'm not going to sit in the same chair. If
you're talking about John Broward.
John Broward wasn't going to sit in the same chair.
Well, John,
not only did
who, by the way, was another very dear friend of mine.
I'm sure of that.
It's true. We used to have breakfast all the time. These are nice people.
And it may come to astonish you, but off the air, John and I got along fairly well.
He was a super person.
No, he wasn't a super person, but off the air, we got along fairly well. In fact, during that period of time, I got him 2 jobs in this business, believe it or not. 2 jobs in this business. I got him hired at the GBS, and I got him hired at INZ.
What I don't understand is...
But the bottom line is that I brought him from way over on the extreme right in certain areas to a certain degree of greater tolerance in some areas.
Right.
Well, I'm not saying I did a total reform job or that if he were still alive, he'd be voting for Dukakis.
Neil, don't you understand? That's part of what this is involved in. Rick Seidemann,
You're not going to bring Rick Seidemann to a position of reality,
mainstream than he used to
because, first of all, he discusses with great venom and intolerance things that he knows nothing about.
Well... Everybody
Nothing
does
about.
That. Everybody does that.
They do?
That. Sure.
Even you?
Well, not me. I mean,
when
there
you talk about sports, for example?
I'm just a layman when it comes to...
Because Joe did come in here during an earlier break, was very cordial, and I appreciate that. It was nice of him. And he shook my hand, and he had one of those little buzzers.
This is a day for making peace. Joe came in and shook hands. Rick came in probably to ask, forgiveness and to say,
but is he a part of the show?
I didn't get that impression.
No.
Well, he never had a chance. He got too intimidated because I was, I didn't know what he'd say, so I sort of, indicated that it would probably be best.
See, if I were doing
I didn't get that impression either.
I haven't done guests for a long... In fact, Tom's the only guest I had on the last year, on Zeta. But if I were doing guests and I had a couple of people sitting in a studio and some chronic hanger around, like just kind of wandered in and grabbed a mic, I'd think, I would view that with a certain degree of skepticism.
If it was your friend, I mean, you wouldn't.
No,
throw them
I
out.
have a lot of friends, but they don't walk in the middle of my show and grab a mic and look at everybody like with some kind of intimidating glare, as if, boy, I'm going to talk to you in a hall.
I haven't spoken to Rick.
You are joined at the hip.
I am guessing that he
if I
came
were
in
your
here to
wife,
make
I'd
peace.
be deeply concerned now about what's going on here. I really mean it.
You really think so?
I think this goes back to... I'm sorry.
No, but
that's
I want
okay.
you to think about that, okay? Because I've known Steve for several years now, and he'd be one of the farthest people in my mind to be in any of these perverted kind of lifestyles, but I've got to tell you.
Well, you don't think that if I was to get involved in that kind of thing that Rick Seidemann would participate in anything like that, do you?
Well, those who protest the most...
Yeah.
Not to mention
Absolutely.
any names.
Those who protest the most, is that sort of like love and hate are two sides of the same coin?
I'll give you a couple examples. J. Edgar Hoover, Joseph McCarthy. There were those people historically who protested the most. Bob Bauman in Maryland, a good Republican right-winger, etc.
So you're saying Rick might be in that
No, I
category?
did not say that.
I mean, I've known him a long time. He's never,
No advances.
I think this goes back to a conversation we had the other night about you seem to have an exceptional tolerance for people who have no tolerance for other people.
I have a lot of tolerance for almost everybody, really, with very few exceptions.
all these, most of the problems in the world, when you come down to it, come down to people who can't mind their own business.
That's right.
If they minded their own business, there would be no problem.
You don't understand. I know that's how you view it, but I'm just basically a love person. I want to see everybody getting along. Joe and you and me and Hank and Rick and Mike
and you
in
and
the
Hank.
morning and me and Hank. Let's take a short break for a news update. Anything you want to talk about?
Well, I'm like, in a fog now after this incredible display here, or whatever that was. It was just bizarre. And I guess it's going to take me a while to adjust to whatever... No, seriously, I'm not joking when I say that. It's going to take me a while to adjust to whatever this bizarre relationship is, because I mentioned it right at the beginning of the show, and I was doing it kind of tongue-in-cheek. But yesterday, I listened to about the last hour, and it seemed to me like every 2 or 3 minutes, everything that you talked about tied in with Rick Seidemann. We go to Players on Monday night, we do that, and Rick is there, and Friday night we do this, and Rick is there. And like I said, there's
you really
this
think there's something
incredible...
that Lori ought to start to
I'm not
worry
talking about that. I don't know. God only knows what it is. Some kind of pseudo-psycho God, we'll have to bring in Shirley to find out. If maybe it's the time of the year. Maybe Mercury is in Uranus or something. I don't know. But, boy, there's something very strange going on in this joint.
Now, Mr. Rogers...
Really peculiar.
You said at the beginning of the show...
Yes, sir.
That you said at the beginning of the show...
Look at him. He's out there doing his Dick Nixon routine with the fingers.
Now, wait a minute. Just relax.
Incredible.
Now, let's be serious for a minute. You said at the beginning of the show that you were going to enlighten me and help me with my career and teach me
And why did
stuff.
he insist on being here when Jeff Stryker is going to be here? What was that all about? No, seriously, what was that all about?
I have no idea. Now, let me
He said
finish.
if you don't let him sit in the studio on that show, that he will never speak to you again. I heard it with my own 3 years.
In all honesty, based on some of the feedback you've given me today, I may start to rethink some of the things
and not
about
only
Rick that I've never thought about.
Now that he's lost all that weight, he starts to look a little bit like Mike Dukakis. If he was about 6 inches shorter, I'm serious, he looks like Dukakis.
I would agree with that to a certain extent.
Doesn't he?
Yeah, to a certain extent.
That is the worst thing you could say. Don't say that about Rick, then he'll go nuts.
He'll
if you
start
say
getting
that.
a complex about
But I want
that.
to finish
And
what I
after
was
the election
saying.
Tuesday,
Has he balanced any budgets?
And I said,
after Dukakis
you don't want to hear
46
this. I can
states
tell
on
this.
Tuesday.
You said
Yes.
that you would teach me some stuff, and I'm always open to learning. I believe life is a growth experience. I am going to try to teach you in your tenure here how to be more accepting of people who seemingly are totally different than you.
Never going to happen. But anyway,
you mean you're totally closed to opening up?
Okay.
Totally closed.
I'm not touching that line, okay? But anyway, there's just something really strange about his role here, and I'm just trying to figure it out. Now, what's going to happen? You watch, mark my words.
Right.
Either today or on Monday, some old douchebag is going to call in.
Oh, Steve, there he goes again. He did it at WNWS, and he did it at INZ with Bill Calder and Stan. He's going to try to run your show and tell you what to do.
You mark my words, trust me.
Well,
and that's not what I'm trying to do, because you're going to do your thing, and I'm going to do my thing. And Mike in the morning is going to do his thing, whatever that is, and, and life will go exactly.
Tom, stop it. Okay.
Tom, get your finger out of your nose.
Hey, I'm a functional illiterate, don't I?
Now, don't harbor a grudge. See, that old bag's going to call back again, and she's going to get hysterical. You're going to make her whole weekend for her now, okay? This is the most excitement she's had in 20 years.
We are going to create a station that is not only a superstation of greatness, but also is going to be a station of brotherhood where everybody who works at this station, starting with Mike in the morning, going through Uncle Neil, going
everybody
through Steve,
loves
right up through the sports department with Rick and Hank and Joe, we're all,
and Sonny.
And Sonny, I forgot, and
Only
Jim,
Sonny,
and Jim. We're all going to be friends, and it started
just
today.
like you were at NWS, right?
It started today when Joe Zagacki not
Joe is,
come
let me
into
say
this
this
thing
to you.
and
Joe
shake
is a
your
nice guy.
hand?
I've always said that.
Did he not
I
offer
used
a
to see
peace
Joe at
offering?
Hurricane baseball games.
Did he
Joe
not
is a
throw
good guy.
down the olive branch?
And once we wake him up, he's going to even be a better guy, okay?
All right, that's what I'm
He's
saying.
a great guy.
This is going to be a
Rick
love station.
Weaver, another story, like I said, a great broadcaster, okay?
Right.
Hank Goldberg is a super guy. Just because you have a little thing with, I don't know what your story is with Hank.
Hank and I have
I don't know anybody. I don't know anybody in the world who doesn't get along with Hank.
Since the last break?
Well, I haven't, I haven't.
Yeah, this is just wishful thinking. Okay.
No.
This is part of the new Steve Kane,
I
Mr.
bear
Conciliatory,
no animosity in my
Mr.
heart.
Peacemaker. You're going to be kind of like the Jesse Jackson of WIOD,
I
right?
am the peace person here.
Right.
I really am. And
good luck to you.
That's my function. Should we let's
take a few
call.
more
Let's
calls.
go to
Because
all right.
this is getting ponderous.
Really
okay?
ponderous.
No, it's
Hello.
it's imponderous.
You're on the air at Broward. Hello.
Yeah, this is in Miami. My name is Manny.
Well, wherever you are, what do you have to offer?
Oh, I got to offer something. You asked for a couple of tickets for the Miami Heat.
Oh, sir, so nice to hear from you.
Yeah.
You have for Saturday night's game?
Saturday night's game. And I tell you, you put me on hold, and then I'll give Nick the directions, or somehow or another we'll have to meet tomorrow so I get him to you.
Oh, absolutely. What end of town do you live in?
Oh, I live in Kendall, and these tickets are courtesy of Coors Beer. I'm a Coors employee, and I want you to be my guest at the game.
This is tomorrow night.
Great.
This is very nice.
Well, Steve and Rick will be down to see in Kendall tomorrow, sir.
I will definitely...
Shoot some baskets.
I will definitely put you on hold, sir. That's very nice.
Yeah, and I think I'm a long time, WLD listener and Steve's show, but I think Neil is the first time really that I listen to him. I think it's going to be very enjoyable with you two guys.
Absolutely marvelous.
Thank you, sir. You're a great American.
My day.
Neil and Rick together again. All right,
I'll tell you what, if Neil wants to go, there's 2 tickets for him too.
Whoa, you want to go to the Heat game?
No, but thank you anyway, sir.
All right, I'm going to put you on hold, sir.
You got it.
Oh, okay, put this gentleman on hold. Find out where we can get those seats. Was that a nice thing?
That
what a
was
nice
great.
gesture. All right, let's go to where are we going? Line one, Miami. You're on WIOD.
Yes, Mr. Kane.
Yes.
I'd like to ask Neil if the station has any restrictions on him, like the other stations put on him. If he's going to have any restrictions in the future here at WIOD.
Well, I mean, everybody's got restrictions there. Every station has got different guidelines that you got to obey. They're not going to start saying, hey, go ahead and do the George Carlin 7 words.
No,
but other than that, in terms of being allowed to do basically the act, yeah, they're going to let me do my thing. You bet.
Okay, that's very good. What's with Stan Major?
Stan is alive, and, he's looking. What can I say? He's going through a rough period, but he and Lori are doing okay, and he'll land on his feet somewhere.
Good, I hope so. I've been listening to you for about a year and a half, okay, and I always hear this name. Who is Jeff Stryker? I keep hearing this, and I don't know who the hell he is.
Jeff Stryker is a porno star who appears in mostly gay movies, but now also some straight movies. He's like, seen the error of his ways or something.
He's versatile, sir.
Very versatile, and he's, what can I say? You'll have to wait till he's on the show.
Oh, okay.
But if you look carefully into the speaker, you'll see that he's a pretty interesting guy.
All right, thank you very much for your call. Let's go to Miami. You're on WIOD.
Mr. Kane.
Yes.
Okay, how you doing?
I'm doing well, sir.
Great, okay, I'm glad to hear it. I want to just let you know that I moved here from Los Angeles to Miami about 3 months ago.
Boy, what a mistake, sir.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Although you can breathe the air, sir, at least
Did you ever listen to Lycus out there?
Wait, listen, who's this?
This is Tom.
Let me talk to Neil Rogers.
Speaking, sir.
Okay, look, I've been listening to you for the past couple of months when you were over at Zeta 4.
Right.
Now, who the hell are you to be putting down headbangers? What do you listen to, Michael Jackson down here?
Michael Jackson?
I don't know, what do you listen to? I hear you talking, I hear you talking
Michael
shit about...
Jackson's not on the air down here. That's in L.A., sir. Are you confused?
I'm talking about your musical taste.
Oh, musical taste.
You were making fun of headbangers, talking about Anthrax and Metallica and all that.
Yeah, I'm not into heavy metal, sir. Is that okay?
What?
Or is there some law that I have to be into heavy metal?
Look, you douchebag. What do you know?
Douchebag? Are you stealing my material now? Some punk who's been here 3 lousy months from L.A. where they wouldn't even let anybody say douchebag on the air.
Know?
What?
What do you know?
The last time they said douchebag on the air in L.A., sir, was when Vince Scully did the last Dodger game, okay?
Listen here. You guys, I've been listening to you both for the past 3 months, you and Steve.
And what's your problem, sir, beside the fact that you miss L.A. and you came to a mung-brain place? What's your problem?
Well, you're a problem for one thing.
Yeah.
Okay, listen. Now, for the past 3 months, you guys have been, insulting each other all the time, and now you guys are kissing each other's ass so much, it makes me sick. I'm puking right now.
But you're still listening, aren't you, sir?
Well, sir, listen,
you're a glutton for punishment,
when you trade in that crystal set that only has one station on it, sir, I'm sure that you'll be delighted to be able to listen to something else.
And we thank you.
Something exciting like Michael Jackson from KABC with his terminally boring crap.
And we thank you for sharing. Now let us check in with Clarence Lott in the WIOD, where tomorrow morning from 10 until 1, Meg Green will entertain you with her great financial show, and they're going to be discussing Amendment 10 with Ed Annis, past president of the AMA, and State Senator Ken Jenney, Larry Stewart of the Academy of Trial Lawyers. So that should be a fun show tomorrow with Meg Green on 610 WIOD. Jacks for Slacks. That's where I'm going to be tomorrow from 12 until 2. And if you're up in the Deerfield Beach area, I'm going to be in the Cove Shopping Center at Hillsborough and the Intercoastal. We're going to be giving away a $500 men's wardrobe to some lucky person who drops in between 12 and 2 tomorrow. Not to mention those great foods we're going to be serving you, the cakes of Sara Lee and jams and jellies by Smuckers. We're going to feed you lunch, sort of, you might say. And we do hope that you will drop by. That's tomorrow at Jack's for Slacks, their brand new 4,000 square foot location in the Cove Shopping Center at Hillsborough and the Intercoastal, noon to 2. And you're going to see some of the greatest menswear, quality menswear, at reasonable prices that you have ever seen at Jack's for Slacks. See you tomorrow there from noon to 2.
Now, speaking of food.
Yes.
And I don't want to. I don't want to get off.
Speak of it.
No, I don't want to get off on the wrong foot. But you notice this room now. Doesn't this table remind you kind of like a microcosm of the one at WINZ, that big, much too big one where you were 50 miles away from the guest? And it's beautiful. And this is a brand new studio. Everything in here is state of the art. It's great. But I was just thinking, because they're real nervous about Glenn and I having food in here. But you know, one thing in doing a morning show is a little bizarre. But when I was on AM doing midday, there was food almost every day because lunchtime just happens to fall in that time period. Mm-hmm. And they said, well, maybe we'll stick a couple of mics down in the cafeteria and you'll eat down there on the air. But it doesn't have the same ambiance, and you can't take calls, and it's just a whole different ball game. And I thought that maybe if we promised to really, had a nice good wastebasket and clean up every immaculately so that, and even brought in some of that spray, some of that spritz, so that by the time you came in here with your sensitive nose, you didn't start complaining about all the aroma of all the food.
Well, I don't mind the smell of food, but to tell you quite frankly, with all of the great respect I have for each other, one thing I couldn't stand was the food thing. I would hit the button. I used to turn my stomach. And I'm
That's
a person
one of the
that
big
loves
features
food.
of the show.
What, the listening to you eat?
Exactly. You want to have people come and watch you eat. We want people listen to us eat.
I don't mind people watching me or you eat. They may come over to the depot on Wednesday night and watch us eat. I just don't like listening to it on the air. Maybe I'm jealous because, you have all the good food and I'm sitting there starving in my car or something.
And, for example, do you have any pizza sponsors on your show?
No, you have Brick Oven, though. I know that.
No, we have Brick Oven.
Will they send pizzas over?
I don't know about that, but I was thinking...
if I'm here to eat it, I wouldn't mind.
Since it is not a competitor... right up the street is Flora's. Have you ever had pizza at Flora's?
No.
Oh, my God.
Good?
Are you out of your mind?
No.
Are you crazy?
No, I've never eaten
You and Rick ought to go up there right now, up to Flora's. I'm telling you, the best pizza in Miami.
Really?
Brick Oven's up in Pembroke Pines. It's great, but it's not a competitor in any way.
No kidding.
But Flora's is,
where
is, don't you?
No, I know. Where is Flora's?
As you're going west on 79th Street, it's on the right-hand side. It's almost to Biscayne Boulevard. It's a couple of blocks east of Biscayne.
I had pizza there once.
Flora's.
When I came over here,
it's legendary.
Show. Yeah, and it was
on the north side of.
Is that the
north
it was. It was really good. Sansky took me there and he recommended.
And it used to be. They moved
terrific.
right next door to where they used to be, but they used to have an outdoor thing, and they still have the benches there, and you go and you eat pizza outside, and it's just tremendous. I'm telling you, seriously.
Is it near where that Walgreens plaza is there?
Walgreens.
It's almost to Biscayne Boulevard.
Almost?
Yeah,
All right.
just a few
Well, we'll
blocks
find. I'll give it a
east
shot.
of Biscayne.
I'll give it a shot next
And what
time.
I was thinking, we can probably, get them in the habit of coming on up and
that sounds good.
becoming a sponsor, of course.
Maybe I'll go over there after this and have
I'm
some
telling
pizza with Rick
you and
Snyder.
Rick can have a
Could
real
be.
good, thrashing out of
Well,
whatever.
unbelievable, but the show is over. Thomas, a pleasure. I wish you the best. We'll be in touch, I'm sure. You'll be calling to confirm or deny other rumors or wild stuff or whatever.
I know. I won't hear from you anymore now.
I'm going to be in your column on Monday, right?
His next guest appearance on the station's on my show, by the way. We've already booked it.
That's cool. I didn't think you were having guests, are you?
No, just Tom.
Oh, okay.
I was the only guest.
No, I might have an occasional guest once in a while. Rick
Maybe
might
you'll
stop.
invite me in.
Rick
and
might stop in on the show or
We can relive
something.
this whole marvelous afternoon or something. Anyway, good
notice
seeing
you.
you.
Didn't hear what I just said?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. No,
And
really, you've been
you will
very
be
cordial
starting
this week,
on
and
Monday.
we'll have our first show.
10 to 2. I can't wait to hear Jet
and we're
Boy,
going to
Jet
eat on the
Girl.
air somewhere. If we have to do it on the hallway, we'll eat just for you.
All right, we hope everybody has a nice weekend. We will see you tomorrow at Jack's for Slacks from noon until 2. You've been listening to the Steve Kane Show on 610 WIOD.
WIOD, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. Sports Talk is next after another.